Crispy,
Yeah,
what are your thoughts on that Artemis trailer?
Artemis?
Or no, sorry, not Artemis. Hawkeye. For some reason, I thought they were gonna have like
Oh,
Artemis in it, and that's why I thought the name Artemis. But yeah, Hawkeye. What are your
Artemis.
thoughts on the?
Artemis. What?
Wait, is this
Yeah.
part of the podcast? That'd be good.
No,
That'd be good
Nolan just
podcast.
derailed the whole shit. He was like, skirt.
No, this is
Nobody-
it. This is it. We're welcome to
Is it?
4Player Podcast, whatever episode number this is. Anyway, the Hawkeye trailer, 695. Episode 695. We're talking about
I'm
Hawkeye.
rolling with it.
Um.
It's gonna be a
Okay.
Christmas
Okay.
movie.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. I mean, whatever. The source material that they're drawing heaviest from, like the single largest source that they seem to be drawing a lot from, at least everything they show in the trailer, is one of my favorite runs on a modern superhero comic ever. Ever.
Really?
Period. Full stop. It's Matt
I have
Fraction
very
and David
fond
Aja
memories-
doing.
Sorry, real quick, just real quick intermission, because I have really fond memories of Crispy giving me this exact history lesson with comics in a small, locally owned comic book store in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You found this on the shelf, and you told me all
yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
Because that's when we randomly ran into each other in Pennsylvania when we had no idea that either of us were going to be in the
we were
state at
staying in the same
time.
hotel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was crazy. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the fates aligned.
I bought a really fucking dope old Doctor Strange comic at that shop that I don't know where it is now, which
You never
sucks.
read it?
But I did, and it was really cool, and it was all like it was like hand painted, like the art was hand painted. It was crazy. Yeah, but that run of Hawkeye was like from 2012, I want to say, maybe 11, somewhere in there. It was written by Matt Fraction. The art was primarily done by David Aja. Great run. I think the first volume was called like My Life as a Weapon or some shit like that. And it's so good. It is amazing. It is well written. It is very like visually stimulating. It's one of those comics that's really just like celebrating comics as like a storytelling medium, right? It's like,
Right.
man, this is great. Like you could tell this story in a film, but like it wouldn't look this cool, you know?
We're about to find out.
And watching that trailer, I was like, yup, you can tell this story in a film, but it won't look that cool because that did not look that cool. Like it was really kind of like I love Marvel. I love like all the Marvel stuff that I've seen like lately. I mean, Loki was really cool. WandaVision was
Sure.
like neat, I guess.
Neat.
I didn't really watch Captain Falcon,
Really?
Captain America.
Captain
I watched like 3 episodes and it was just kind of like
It was
whatever.
okay.
Yeah, and I just kind of fell off of it. But you know, I like superheroes. I like superhero movies. And I had for a while been one of those people kind of was like whatever, like rolled my eyes at that whole like Marvel like sameness kind of argument that people level against Marvel movies. But like I have absolutely reached my breaking point, and am definitely starting to feel that way now. And I think Hawkeye pushed me over the edge. I think Hawkeye was the thing that was like, man, all this stuff does look the same, and I am like kind of done with that. Like not crazy excited about that because Hawkeye was such an opportunity to just like fucking go crazy, like do something. Like I shouldn't have to sit here and like tell you exactly how it should look, but like literally like just do anything different, you know, like literally make it look not just like another fucking action police procedural show, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
I will say this. I
Like-
feel like the MCU has, as the years have gone on, it's become more and more apparent that like the discussions in like the writers' rooms and stuff and talking about all this, there must have been like an agreement that was made that was like they have to have a through line of like the visual style has to be consistent and you know, not for the betterment of these movies or whatever. It's just like at some point early down in the line, it feels like they were just like, let's make them all look the same, so they all feel like they're part of the same universe.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a matter of like creative storytelling decisions if they're like, "Oh, we want this to have like a similarly like kind of normalized look across the board, or if it's a situation of like they just shoot all of this stuff the same way because like they're using like the same
for time.
they're using the same studios, the same technologies, the same techniques, right? And that's just why it kind of looks the way it does.
They have it down to a
think,
formula.
Which, yes, I kind of think is like what's going on, right? Whatever. I mean, like they shoot things in such a weird way nowadays where like they will green screen and digitally add everything just so that they can keep the choice all the way up to like the cut. You know what I mean?
True.
Of like, oh, what's Nick Fury's gun gonna look like? I don't know. We'll just have him hold something and then like we'll figure it out later. Like they're doing it so quickly and they like everything is on such a sliding scale of making that like nothing has any conviction to it. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel. I think that's the kind of thing that like when like younger people are looking back at like the older Spider-Man movies and going like, why do people like this so much? It's because like, look, you may think it looks goofy, but like Sam Raimi knew what he wanted it to look like had like storyboards of it that like this is what's gonna look like, and then they shot it and it looked like that, and like that's cool, and that doesn't really exist in Marvel movies anymore. Whatever, it's not that big a deal. It does kind of bum me out sometimes though. The thing about watching that Hawkeye trailer is it's just making me think of like all the stuff that could have been, and I keep thinking about like what was Edgar Wright's Ant-Man gonna be like before they split over creative differences, because I guarantee that movie probably would have been fucking crazy. Good or not, it would have been crazy,
But think about it this way, like if he had made Ant-Man, would we have gotten Baby Driver? Would we have got? I mean, at this point, obviously,
I don't know. I don't know, but like at the same time, like look what we did get. That Ant-Man movie's fine. I like it. It's a very breezy watch, but like it doesn't kick me in the balls like I would have expected an Edgar Wright superhero film to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he already did a comic book movie, and that was like pretty cool. Like I really like Scott Pilgrim, but
on the positive note, I'm really stoked to see Edgar Wright doing other creative things that have nothing to do with the MCU.
Yeah.
One Night in Soho looks
For sure.
incredible.
Yeah.
It looks great, but we're talking about Hawkeye. And Hawkeye, the other thing with Hawkeye is that like Hawkeye's one of those characters like Iron Man where like nobody had any attachment to like a specific characterization of Hawkeye, so he just kind of became whoever the actor that's playing him is, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So Hawkeye's just Jeremy Renner. And to me, Jeremy Renner's not Hawkeye. Like Hawkeye does have this like rough around the edges, like irascible, crotchety, like cranky kind of like personality, but like with a heart of gold, But he's like at the end of the day, he's ultimately like really lovable, and like you really believe in his relationship with Kate Bishop as like a mentor, and then like as a friend and a peer. You really believe in like his like innate goodness, even if he's just kind of like a fucking dick, Jeremy Renner's just a dick. Like I just don't like him, I don't believe in Jeremy Renner as like a hero per se. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Do you love that one moment he had in Age of Ultron, where he's giving
I know what you're gonna say, and I don't like that moment.
Oh no! I love that moment. That's like my favorite moment in the movie.
That is like kind of become emblematic of this whole like, yeah, superhero movies are fucking weird, I guess, especially when you do them in live action. Whatever, like let's just go to the next fight scene. Like it's just lampshade hanging and navel gazy, and coming from his mouth, it doesn't work. You could have given that to a different character, and I might have bought it. But coming from his mouth, I'm just like, fuck off, like.
You've really made me excited to finally watch Black Widow this weekend, which I finally have a copy of Black Widow.
Which, to be fair, I haven't seen yet, so I don't know. Well, maybe that one's great.
It's gonna look like every other Marvel movie, but like the things that are getting me excited about the MCU these days are like less about how it's shot and more about the kinds of stories they're telling, because like they're starting to do all the weird shit. Like we're getting into the Eternals and Shang-Chi and more Doctor Strange, which is
and like
right? It's gonna be wild.
Yeah, Multiverse of Madness, like I'm crazy excited for, obviously.
And they're obviously doing crazy shit with Spider-Man, so like content is starting to look more interesting.
And I've been hearing a lot of great stuff about Shang-Chi. Apparently it's really good. Haven't seen that one yet. Again, I'm a little just like kind of marveled out at the moment. But
totally get it. I haven't even watched Loki yet. I haven't.
All
I
I'm
haven't
saying
watched the
is, if
second.
anything about that Hawkeye trailer looks cool, please just go read the book too. Like,
Mm.
read the book before you watch before you watch the show. Read it after you watch the show. I don't care. Like
Which
that
book?
book, Hawkeye Volume 1, My Life as a Weapon. The author is Matt Fraction.
The scene in the trailer with the with basically Kate Bishop
they
leading
do
the
like
way
my
with the
favorite
car.
thing in the world. There's an entire fucking issue where the climax is this big car chase where like he's just shooting arrows and he doesn't know what he's shooting and like all these things are going off, and they kind of do that in the trailer. Like they kind of are like riffing on that, and it just felt, it was just like, no, that's not it. Like, no.
Empty.
Oh, it's not. Like,
I'm gonna give
I don't
Crispy
know.
a second to
I
catch
don't
his
know,
breath.
and I don't know that I have a good reason for feeling that way. I like, it could just be a completely emotional, visceral, like reaction.
But you're gonna watch it. There's no way. You're
I'm
not
gonna watch it. I have to
Yeah.
watch it to see like if it actually does it. I don't know. They do a whole issue from the dog's point of view, and the dog doesn't understand English. So I mean, like, would the show do that? No, I don't
No.
think they would do crazy stuff like that. And like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. Just
Everyone, welcome to 4Player Podcast. Crispy's here. Hello, Crispy. How are you?
I'm good. How's it going?
Going pretty good.
I'm feeling great.
I'm also
happy
joined
to, happy to be here.
by Christopher Davis. I think Chris Davis. Your microphone is muted.
God damn it, fucking.
I muted myself. Didn't we do the intro like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, no. I'm keeping all of that in. That's all part of the show. Crispy did the intro. This is good. I just haven't.
Yeah,
said
I'm
anything.
sorry I talked
Okay.
about Hawkeye for 10 minutes, but whatever. Okay.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just introing the
No,
podcast
definitely.
again.
I'm not apologizing to you, Chris Davis. I'm apologizing to the listener. Forgive
No,
me.
the listener is very thankful for that. Believe me. You probably did more to like help Marvel at like sell comic books than Marvel is, at least Hawkeye comic books, than Marvel has done in quite some time.
It's 6 issues. It's so good. It's amazing. Just you'll want to keep going.
Afternoon. Just go. All right. Nolan's joining us. Hello, Nolan.
How's it going? I'm here.
Joining us from the void. It seems. Just
Yep.
floating head in a black.
Just
Become
where
one
I'm
with the
at.
darkness.
Good to have you here. And of course, sitting in the hot chair tonight is Jeffrey DeMello. Hello, welcome back.
Hi.
How are you doing, sir?
Good.
Do you like
better.
Hawkeye?
Man, again, like, I can't keep up. I can't keep up with any of that shit.
I know the feeling.
I've watched fucking Luca for the 400th time.
Is that the Mermaid Boy movie?
Yeah, it's good. I like that movie a lot,
looks-
but
it
god
looks
damn
cute.
it.
That's great.
My kid is all
Oh,
about it, man.
but that's the one that your kids like latched onto, right?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Luca.
There's
Yeah.
always one, right? Every time
Yeah.
there's a new
Right.
there's like a new child. Like
It could have
there's
been
always one.
Frozen. It could have been Inside Out.
Yeah, no. This one don't really have music, but it has "Watch Where You're Going, Stupido" or something. It's Italian as fuck, right? I didn't know that, but it is.
I've never heard of this movie.
Luca. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Did y'all have movies like that
This
when
show's
y'all were
brought
kids?
to you by Disney Plus.
Yes, several, a few.
We wish.
For a while, it was The Great Muppet Caper for me.
That's supposedly pretty good.
I love The Great Muppet Caper. It's amazing.
I'm trying to think of what I would have made my parents. Are we talking specifically about what we would have made our parents watch
Yeah,
over and
just
over
like
again?
put it on again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I mean, I feel like
I remember what the
I mean,
answer is for my brother. I don't remember what I wanted.
I don't see.
so
My
long
memory's
ago.
not good enough. Like the earliest memory I have, I think, is like maybe Ghostbusters or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dude, yeah.
Um,
TMNT would have
which
been one.
Yeah, specifically TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Secrets of the Ooze.
Secrets of the Ooze, because that opening sequence in like the toy store or whatever. I think it's the toy store, right?
Yeah.
Was like one of my favorite scenes in like ever growing up. So I probably watched that like hundreds of times. My parents are probably sick of it.
I remember wearing out some G.I. Joe VHSs, but yeah, not a movie.
G.I. Joes.
Yeah, fucking G.I. Joe, man.
It's a real
that's
American
fair.
hero.
It's changed. G.I. Joe has changed.
Drastically.
Video games. We're here. Oh, real quick before we get into the video games, before we started recording, Crispy, I guess, wanted me to talk about Malignant. Crispy.
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts about it. I want you to tell me what it's about.
I genuinely didn't like it.
Genuinely didn't like it.
I gave it a 1-star review on Letterboxd.
Wow.
For those of you who are gonna inevitably scroll through my letterbox and find out what I gave it, that's what I gave it, a 1-star. The weird thing is,
This movie definitely isn't benign.
Well, no, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with my
joke a week
expectations.
ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yes.
On there.
Somebody made a joke and it was awful.
Does it feel like someone who made like a renowned horror movie and then now they're like holding on to dear life to?
Okay. To answer your question, it specifically feels like, and it feels like this because this is exactly what it is. It feels like a director who made a renowned horror film, which became a very popular horror franchise, The Conjuring, which is what I was expecting. I do really enjoy The Conjuring. In fact, all of not the spin-offs, but like the 3 main movies I've all really enjoyed. Going into that, but then this is also the same director who went off and made like 2 of the Fast and the Furious movies, and it feels like him making Fast and the Furious and then coming back and making a horror movie. And I went into it expecting The Conjuring, and when I instead got something that isn't even horror, it's like just over the top. And some people are gonna like this. Some people are gonna love the over the top cheesy monster horror stuff. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting like a supernatural, creepy ghost demon possession type movie because I didn't know anything about the story going into it other than what I watched in the trailers. The trailers don't really do a good job of telling you what it's about, and I think that's very intentional because by the time you finish watching this movie, you're gonna be like, "Holy shit, that is not at all what I was expecting." And say which will, that's probably a good thing. But I keep
forgetting that this was James Wan who did this.
James Wan, yeah.
So like the guy who did Saw and like Insidious and The Conjuring and stuff, and yeah, I don't know. Fast and the Furious, right? Like he did a couple of those.
He did F7, and maybe someone in the chat knows what the other one. He's done 2 of them, I believe.
Done the Aquaman movies, which I gotta tell you, I saw Aquaman for the first time recently, and I was very whatever about that.
Whelmed?
Yeah, I was incredibly whelmed, and like a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, it's really cool and like wacky and zany or something." I don't know. Some of the reviews I'm reading about Malignant are like, I can't believe this. This is amazing. Like James Wan has just like made these studios so much money that they're like, here's a few $1 million, do whatever the fuck you want, and like he just went nuts.
He did go for it
and did this.
He did go for it.
I don't think any of those reviews are like, yeah, this is great movie. I think they're all just like, the fucking balls on this guy, you know?
It definitely is ballsy. But what I will say is this, because I do feel like The Conjuring specifically, and even the first Insidious movies, like a lot of the times the first time he goes and makes a horror, like an original horror movie, I feel like there's a certain level of quality as far as the writing and the acting and just the premise and the execution is that I think he delivers on for the most part. Within like 2 minutes of being in this, like watching Malignant, I was rolling my eyes to the back of my head because like the delivery on like the dialogue was so over the top that it was completely distracting. I couldn't stand it, and I'll be honest, I came home and I pitched this to Robin, and her mom was visiting, and I was like, "Hey, do y'all want to watch a movie tonight? There's a new horror movie." Her mom likes watching horror movies, so we went and watched this movie together, and I had no idea what the fuck it was, and I was kind of embarrassed having recommended, like, after I was like watching this, like, oh god, this is awful. Why did I pitch this?
Do you do you think that that's like maybe part of what it was? Like part of why you didn't like it was
took all
just
that
'cause
money
you
and made
felt-
a fucking
No.
B-tier horror movie?
I wouldn't have liked it either way. I mean, like, I'm just not like that. When I watch a horror movie, I sit down because I legitimately want to watch something that creeps the shit out of me. This didn't scare me at all, and it was like, this is coming. I feel like this is gonna be weird. I feel like there are episodes of Supernatural that have scared me more, that I've taken more seriously than this movie. This felt like Crispy's eyes getting all wide.
Yeah. Horror
This
movies
movie-
are weird.
I was expecting like Vin Diesel to pull up and find out this was like an actual Fast and the Furious crossover at some point. It gets so stupid that I just could not. It was too much for me. Maybe it'll be great for some people. It was too much stupid.
I
for
don't
me.
like. I don't find like the ghost shit creepy because like I don't like.
See, and that's the kind of shit
I
that
don't-
scares the hell out of me.
No, I don't believe in like. I don't like.
It's not
have
even about
beliefs in
believing
this.
it.
I'm
It's
like
the-
Nolan, right? Nolan's like that.
It's not even about
it's all
believing it.
bullshit.
Like, The Conjuring, I don't really believe that any of the shit in The Conjuring would happen, but watching The Conjuring still scares the shit out of me. It's about the imagery and like the
Yeah, right,
cinematography and the way they use sound effects and music and the acting. Like it lands. Nothing here landed. Anyways, that's my personal review of Malignant.
Interesting.
Although I tried telling this to people in Discord, and I was convincing more people to go watch it than not watch it. So you know what?
No, but
Just
that's
go
that's a
watch it.
great thing. That's a good thing.
No,
If,
yeah, absolutely.
like if you're like
absolutely.
this movie is terrible and people are like, oh my god, I gotta see that. Like, great. That's the conversation, right?
Yeah, but
Right.
let me tell you, that third act, holy shit.
I feel like I'm gonna love
okay.
this movie now because
You-
you like The Conjuring and shit, and I fucking slept through that shit. I was like,
Yeah.
this is not the horror movie for me. So
yeah,
like,
but this isn't also a horror movie. Like I would not. I mean, this is too schlocky to even call. I mean, it's. I don't know. Hey, here's what I'll tell you without giving anything away.
Did someone just get down with the sickness?
Yeah, Jeff
That's what
just
it
got
sounded like.
No, that was just Jeff yawning.
That's just me.
that somebody called that out, not me. Okay. One thing I will say, and this is maybe something that's going to convince you to go watch it. One thing they do that's really, really cool in this movie that I was watching and I was like, this is dumb as shit. This is over the top and I hate it. But how the fuck did they film this? I have no idea how they pulled this off.
Cameras.
There's this one
Oh.
particular effect that they use a lot, and I'm just like, logistically, how did an actor do this? I have no idea. It's crazy. In fact, it's probably reason enough to go watch it, even if you end up hating it. So I'll
That's
just
where
leave it
all
at
the
that.
budget went.
Yeah, it's yeah.
But maybe
And
that's the point, right? Like
the people who have seen it know what I'm talking about.
Crispy, I see it. I see the look in Crispy's face, and it's making me feel like he's like, wait a second, like maybe this is like brilliant.
No,
Well, I don't know. I mean, like it's
But
maybe
brilliant in a
maybe it's
schlocky
worth
way.
talking about. I don't know that it's brilliant, but maybe it's worth talking about, right? I
All
think
right.
it's interesting. I think it's interesting when these directors who get wrapped up in the studio system doing franchise work are finally given like budget to do something they want to do and like show themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And then everyone's just kind of like, "What the fuck was that?" Like,
Here's the
you know?
problem. Honestly, I will tell you this, because
I love that.
No,
It is, right?
I respect that James Wan went for it, man. Because if nothing else, he goes for it, and he does something that I've never seen before.
Sure, sure.
But you would think with the bigger budget, the acting would have been better. It is like
But maybe the acting is intentionally bad.
feel like it
Right,
doesn't
Mac?
feel like
No,
that
but-
to me. It
Okay,
didn't
okay,
feel like
cool.
I don't know.
Because,
Maybe I'm
wait,
crazy.
Wait, because like Evil Dead was just bad acting, right? Like,
like-
it wasn't schlocky.
Wait,
Like
you
it was
also,
just, like,
also look at like the kind of stars that he's been working with, like high profile, like Vin Diesel and fucking Jason Momoa. Like
they must have all been.
these
like,
guys
this
aren't
shit's
actors.
awesome.
Like, I mean, they're actors,
I
but family.
They're
You know,
not
like
actors.
they're not thespians. Like,
You're right.
Right.
Anyways, you know what? I guess what I'm trying to say is go watch Malignant. Fuck it. I don't care. Go watch.
just watch it. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Crispy, go watch it. Come talk to me. Okay.
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Now that we're 20 minutes into this podcast, let's talk about video games, shall we? You know, okay, I want to get this conversation out of the way first.
Do it.
Because we haven't had a chance yet. Because Brad's still on paternity leave, but like right around he was gonna be on the show. I think the day that his son was born, he was
Yep.
gonna be on the show to talk about the demo for Tales of Arise, and then obviously that didn't happen. So nobody here has talked about Tales of Arise yet, and I'm sure Brad is listening to this at home and just like praying that I do this justice or that because So
He's in chat waiting on you.
yeah, so I just want to
Fucking
preface this by
brass.
saying a couple things. One, not only have I not ever played a Tales game, not even like the big one, not even like the popular one like Tales of Symphonia. I know is a lot of Tales of what's the other one? That's Tales of Vesperia. I think is a really popular
Vesperia's
one.
one, yeah.
Um, I've heard Brad talk about these games for years, and I've never played one myself. But on top of that, I don't think I've really played and finished a JRPG that hasn't started with Final Fantasy since probably the PS2 era. Maybe I could be forgetting.
Wow.
I could be forgetting something.
I feel like
Um,
you're making excuses.
I mean, I'm just trying to set the stage here because I'm going to be talking about something that I don't like. I need someone who knows what they're
I'm
talking
here.
about
I'm
here.
here.
Okay,
I'm
cool.
here, bro.
So
I
Jeff,
know.
okay,
Tales games. Like I
okay,
know. I get
Jeff.
what they're about. I get what they're about. I've
I
played.
know
I played them.
Nolan.
I've never
I
finished
know
one, but I've played them.
I've
played
played
'em.
at least Tales of Symphonia. Okay, so cool. So I'm not totally alone here, which is good. So, and I will say, so I picked up Tales. I was like really on the fence about this. I picked up Tales of Arise last week, mostly on the coattails of like a bunch of really great glowing reviews, and also just me feeling a little bit of the just like I kind of want to play something that's really outside of my wheelhouse. So I picked up Tales of Arise, and ooh, this game is weird. I don't even know which direction to go in, and I will say this: I'm only like 6 or 7 hours
Okay,
into it at this
I'm gonna
point.
hold your hand. I'm gonna hold your hand.
Hold it.
Do you like the combat?
Yes, uh, yes, and there's I feel like there's
Okay, so
it's kind of going to be a 1-to-1 real quick, but
this
like
is new to you, right? This like arena combat JRPG action shit is new to you.
well, not necessarily because I feel like the Final Fantasy VII remake was similar, right? Kind of where you're
Yeah.
running, you're freely running around like an arena and you're fighting and you're hitting buttons and doing like actual attacks in real
I
time
feel
kind
like
of thing.
Brad. I feel like if I nod to this, Brad is gonna be like, "Fuck, what the."
See, that's what I'm talking
No.
about.
But
So
It doesn't matter what you say.
very
He's gonna
lightly,
act like
yeah,
that
very
anyway.
lightly. Not real. If you're a fan of Tales, you're gonna be like, "Hell no, it's not." But I get what you're saying. I get exactly what you're saying.
I guess maybe just when you're listening to me talk about this game, if you're a Tales fan already, maybe I'm not talking to you. Maybe this is more for people
Oh,
who
it's cool.
don't
It's
have a history
cool.
with it.
It's cool, bro. Fuck that. That like it's okay. Like new fans of a series is always exciting. Like it's always exciting. Like so they're not gonna like it just. Do you like the game, Nick?
I do like the game with some caveats so far, and not even caveats, more of just kind of getting used to what Tales is, because this is going to seem unfair to maybe to call attention to this, but I feel like and Brad always likes to bust my chops about not playing enough Japanese games. I don't play a lot of Japanese games. Like the vast majority of what I play has just been like Western games, and not necessarily intentionally. It just kind of happened that way. So it's
Sure,
been a
it's
while
not.
since I've let it's fine. It's been a while since I've let myself really get into a JRPG, and I felt this way about Final Fantasy VII Remake as well, especially coming off of Final Fantasy VII proper, which back in the day was like this massive experience, right? You're running around this big open world, you're going anywhere you want at any time, and you're doing stuff. And then you play the Final Fantasy VII remake, and it seems very like funneled, right? It's, you're kind of going through these linear areas. There's a lot of loading screens in between areas. And here, this is coming from a person who has I would say I've built a reputation over the years as someone who like really appreciates and loves like open world games. I do. So like going into a game like Tales of Arise, it's kind of shocking to me how frequently I'm going into different areas and there's loading screens in between areas. It's like sometimes areas are very short and feel very condensed. Again, still early. It could open up dramatically, and I just don't know about it yet.
But Tales games are like that. Like you'll go into a hallway and it'll just be like a strip of a hallway, and then you load in, go through, like maybe get into one fight, and then you load out. Yeah, it's just how it.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of a JRPG thing. It's just kind of like I think that's just kind of the design philosophy that's really been prevalent with that genre, and it's been an incredibly popular genre. So like maybe they haven't felt the need or the pull to like maybe their development priorities are just different. So like open necessarily isn't the highest priority. So whatever. It is just kind of shocking how frequently control is being ripped away from me So like either going into a loading screen or going into these constant what are they called, skits, which I think is a staple of the series, right?
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
you'll
See,
have
wait. If you don't instantly like get
I like the
attached to
skits.
the skit. Okay. I was gonna say the
I like
skits
the
are like
skits.
if that's not your thing, then Tales is never gonna be your thing because like
No,
you get all the like backdrop of who these characters are and how they think and feel about like all the other
yeah.
characters in your party. Like that, all that stuff comes from those skits, basically. You know what I mean?
And
It's like
I do
all the
like it.
narration.
The thing that I'm getting I'm really enjoying, like the presentation is nice for the skits. It's the voice acting is good, the writing is solid. I'm really enjoying. I'm getting to know these characters better. But like I am 5-6 hours into this game now, and I shit you not, I've watched like 30 skits so far. So
Sounds
it's kind
about
of
right.
like I walk 10 feet and then a skit pops up, and I'm the kind of person who's like, I'm not just gonna. And here's the thing: I know you can go back and you can, when you rest at a campfire, you can like reminisce and you can go back and watch the skits that you missed or whatever. But one way or the other, I'm watching all the skits. There's no way in hell I'm gonna go into a list of skits and be like, see the little exclamation point saying I haven't watched it and like not watch it. I'm not that kind of person. I'm
Right.
watching all of them, and they're all like 2 or 3 minutes probably. So like I've watched 20 or 30 of them at this point. 6 hours of gameplay. You get the picture. It's a lot. So you put that kind of on top of the frequent loading screens and kind of funneling you down things, and like it's a little jarring for someone like me who has become really attached to like freedom and just being
Yeah.
in these open environments and stuff. But
You just want to run around the world all day?
I do just want to run around the world all day.
Nick plays a lot of open world games. There's not much loading in them, motherfucker.
So yeah, it's a little jarring. But with that said, I'm really enjoying. I'm enjoying the story so far. I'm enjoying just the general approach to design, and combat feels really nice. Combat feels really slick. It runs like a dream on the PS5. It looks at. It's like I didn't. It's kind of hard to tell from screenshots, but like this might be one of the best looking games of the year. Like it's gorgeous. Um, and Robin walked in the other day and she thought I was playing Prince of Persia 2008 for a second. If you
What?
remember that, do you remember that game? Like, do you remember the art style for that game? Which maybe
May-
one of the
That was
yeah,
a
yeah,
what?
yeah.
yeah,
I remember
it was
it.
the Prince of Persia that was
Reboot?
kind of the standalone. It wasn't. It did not look like Sands of Time. It was the one that came out on like the PS3 and Xbox
Like
360.
cell shaded.
Yeah, it's like semi cell shaded.
Yeah, I like that one. That was the one
yeah,
that never like you had to buy the DLC to finish the story, right?
Yeah, that's the one. And I like that game too. But like the thing about that game was that like the most striking thing about it was its visuals, and I always loved the way that game looked. And this looks kind of like an extension of that, but just like taken to like the 10th degree. Like it's crazy beautiful. I'm loving the way this game looks. The things that are and Brad kind of prepared me for this, I think, but he's like the I'm still trying to get a lot of the lore down, like the names
Sure.
of things in this Tales game at least. It's just ridiculous. Like, do you know what they call monsters in this game?
What do they call them,
Yep.
Nick?
Zoogles. Zoogles.
That's a
Zoogles.
bad name.
Every
I'm
time
saying,
they
it's JRPG. A JRPG.
I know.
shit,
It's
like, who cares?
just like, and it doesn't get in the way of enjoying the story because I think the themes and the interactions and the characters that are at the core of the story are good, but they're just layered on top of these foundational blocks like Zoogles, and like the name. It's about these two planets, and like one is enslaved the other, and they're called Renans and Danans, and you have to constantly like, okay, which one is Renan, which one is Dan? Okay. It's just
I'm gonna cut you off, Nick. I'm gonna cut you off. Okay.
please
The
do.
narrative, like the JRPG narrative stuff. I think what's more important here is the combat, the mechanics of the combat. Do you like that? Do you like how you mix arts? Like, let's
I
talk
do.
about that stuff.
Mix. So early. I'm kind of early, so I don't have a lot of different arts to mix. It's one of these weird like combat in this game seems strange, or like the upgrade system seems kind of strange because you have these like skill trees, right? And the skill trees represent different aspects of your character's like personality or whatever, and then each one of those trees has like 5 abilities that are tied to them. But like they kind of just fill those in at random times in the story. Like I entered a room once and there was like a cutscene where they talked about something, and then it took me to the skill tree thing, and it's like, this skill tree is now available to you, and I was like, why? I don't understand. Um, and when you and then you kind of think about the combat is very much like the there's this just general inconsistency to the way things are presented in this game. You're either watching like this fully acted, fully animated cutscene, or you're watching this weird comic book panel, or there's characters that are talking to you while you're running around the world, but they aren't in the world. It's just your main character, but you can hear the other characters talking to you even though they're not visible. It's weird. It's just like there's just so many different ways that story is presented to you, and that kind of ends up rolling over to the combat a little bit. But when you're in the moment, when you're in combat, it's super fun. It's super fast paced. You're like running around and you're doing regular attacks to build up your meters that let you unleash arts,
Right.
and you can combo the arts together. And then if you combo, you get a high enough combo, and both of your party members have like their special meter filled up. You can do these like combination attacks, which look
Sure.
kind of amazing. Like I love all that stuff. It's good. I don't want to get into the specifics because I don't feel like I know the combat well enough yet to really talk about those. But it's fast paced, it's satisfying, it's fun. The game looks beautiful. The story, even though it's laid on all kinds of silly building blocks, it's so far it's good. Like it has these like really heavy themes about like what it means to be free, because like they're both like people, but like one group of people is enslaving the other,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
like
just
slave allegory, right? Yeah.
yeah, it's heavy
I
shit.
heard the story in this is really dope. Like it's really good. It's I've been hearing it compared to like Vesperia, which is like the loved one. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Mhm.
I played. I never finished Vesperia, but I played through a lot of the one after that.
Vesperia? No.
They're all like
Zestiria?
that, right? Yeah, the one with the robot
Yeah.
chick. The one she was like a robot, right? She was like a
Mhm.
robot girl.
That sounds right.
Brad's in
Like
chat. He should
so
know
there
which
was,
one we're talking
so
about.
yeah, I think it was the robot one, and I loved like the skits because like the character development and how like she was like just awkward the whole time was just really cool.
Grace
So
is
I
F,
like
he
that
says.
one. Grace's F,
Tales of
yeah, like I loved Grace's F. I like that game a lot. So
I think this feels really. This feels. I don't. I don't. I'm not a Tales expert by any stretch, but this feels like a really good entry point to me for the
yeah, no,
series.
Tales. See, the thing is like if this is dark and like gritty narratively, like Tales games are usually like very lighthearted, like feel like teen anime kind of, you know what I mean?
And
Like
it does.
Vesperia
Let me.
is very
Ooh,
much
ooh.
like a teen anime type of like oh
Yep.
no, Bob, like let's get him. You know what I mean? Like
So, to a degree, that still exists here because like the game is
yeah, it
super.
should. It should. It's
The game
part
is
of the culture,
super
bro.
vibrant. Like this game, I'm talking about like these dark stories, whatever. But like the game is super bright, super beautiful. All the environments look amazing and everything, and like the characters still have that very anime uh, personification to it. Again, admittedly, I'm not the biggest anime person. I haven't really been like into watching an anime in a long time, so it's also a little jarring in that regard. And last night, I got to the title card last night after like 5 hours of play in this game. And then I don't know if this is a Tales thing, but it proceeded to hit me with a fucking full on anime music video that was like 5 minutes long.
It sounds perfect.
I mean, it was cool, but I was like, God, this is anime as fuck. But you know what?
This
Maybe that's kind of what I was
Japanese
looking for
anime
right
game
now.
I'm playing is so anime.
I know. It's not it's not exactly. I'm not trying to necessarily use that as like a complaint because I'm digging it. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of the same way. Like every once in a while, I get in the mood for like anime something or other. That's why I started playing Persona. But Persona 5. Persona 5 is like a 100-something-hour game, probably if you really want to get the most out of it. And I fell off of it because that's a really big commitment. And I hope I can stick through with this game because I would like to be able to say that I've played a JRPG in the last 10 years that wasn't Final Fantasy. And like saw it through to the end. But yeah, I don't know. This is cool. I like it a lot. I hope that does. I hope that does it some justice because
I think so.
it feels like a really good entry point for the series. All right, so got that out of the way. Jeff. Jeff.
Brad says hot dog in the ass bet.
Hot dog in the ass bet.
What's up?
So I tweeted the name of this game wrong today. For some reason, I was thinking this was called the Forbidden City, but it's actually called the Forgotten City.
Forgotten City.
I've been hearing talk about this, but I don't know a ton about it.
I'm not gonna say much about it because it's a time loop game.
Which we'll
It's
talk
like
about.
it's like a detective adventure
several.
game, bro. It's a detective adventure game where you're in a time loop where you end up like without spoiling anything really, like staying vague, something happens in the beginning of the game. There's like a break when the screen loads back. You're in a freaking Roman like city, you know, and then you have to figure out how you're there, why you're there, like who these people are, and like it's a really cool one of those type of games. Like
Sure.
it all links together. There's like solutions that you just stumble into by accident, and like because things start happening, and I felt like I stumbled into a lot of solutions that I thought were like they felt natural, you know, and they didn't feel like, yeah, this is super video gamey, like because it's very talky. Like you're coming here to like talk for 7 minutes with an NPC, you know, because you need to get information on who they are, how they got here, so you can figure out. So in the game, the plot is you need to create a paradox to escape the city. The portal was open because somebody the portal is open because somebody is going to cause a crime in this city. They're going to break something called the Golden Rule, and this Golden Rule has this curse on this city where if anybody breaks what is considered a Golden Rule law, like the golden statues in the city come to life and like turn everyone else into statues. So this time loop is created by a character to bring you in to stop to figure out who's gonna break the golden rule. And like the city is like it's well designed where like there's no map, but after 3 hours you're like you don't need one, you know, you get a pretty good grasp of the city. There's no signage, and I still like, you know, real quickly like got a pretty good idea of like, okay, where I'm going, where I have to go, and like I gotta like I like it. I like the game. I think it's really cool. I don't know if I want to talk too much more about it, but I definitely think that if you liked games like, I don't know, Oberdin, or
There it is.
If you like Return of the Oberdin, if you liked Outer Wilds, if you
We
like
liked both of those games.
those kind of games, like I think, you know, it's one of those, you know. And I know time loop games now are like I don't know, it can't be intentional, but they're like a thing right now where like all of a sudden, yeah, they're hot, right? So like it's one of those, and it seems to be a good one. So I finished. I'm on the last. There's 4 endings. I'm through 3. I thought I got a bug or a glitch or something that like is causing me to. So that's the thing. That's the only thing that's bugging me right now, because I've more or less loved the entire thing, but like now I can't, like I've narrowed everything down to like these last things where now I can't tell if I did something wrong or if I'm missing something, because it doesn't really hold your hand. It's not so like obscure, so you have to like take notes and like figure that kind of stuff out, but it definitely like sometimes you can go to like your quest your lead log, and you can like, you know, highlight it and be like, okay, like I want to follow this lead, and like there's no icon on the map. It's just like you need to figure out what the clue is before you even get your hand held, which I like, you know, I like. And it's not, again, because you stumble into so much stuff that it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And the characters I liked the characters and the messaging, like last thing, like the narrative here, like it really, especially in this time, like in 2021, like it really like is working on making me question some of my like nihilism, you know what I mean? Because like sometimes people make mistakes and like there's like this push and pull narratively where you have to you know you have to deal with people and like learn to forgive people or like swallow pride in certain circumstances and like that. The narrative kind of has that going for it, which I like a lot. And it's just it's cool. It's cool.
I
Everyone
was
should definitely check it out if you like those kind of games.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you as like a very loaded question at some point if
Go
this
for it.
was like I was gonna say, is this like, would you say that this would be like maybe this year's Return of the Oberdin? You obviously name dropped that, um,
Um,
but is that the one?
oh, I loved Oberdin is a fucking an amazing game. It's like one of I feel like Oberdin is like one of a kind. I almost am in fear that like that was it. Like that was it. Like you got the Oberdin
We'll never be
that you're
better than
never
this.
gonna get that again. You can never not remember that game in
Uh,
any
I
particular
mean,
way.
I would say yes, but also I would counter with I don't think Lucas Pope has ever disappointed. Yeah, it's one of
Right.
those things where, Papers, Please was fantastic and it was unique, and then like it's like, oh well, then he comes out with Return of the Oberdin. It's like, holy shit, like it got even better.
Yeah, that
And
dude's gonna consistently make cool shit for sure.
yeah,
And again, like I live on a coastal Cape Cod ass town, and so like that kind of shit, like there's not a lot of games where like I feel like I'm home. You know what I mean? Unless
sure.
it's like a pirate game, and even then, those are usually like tropical. It's never like Eastern seaboard like whaling pirates. And I swear to you, I've had a discussion with Bob of like if Refactor blows up, can I pitch you a game design document about like whaling, like some like kind of steampunk but whale like in the era of
Whale
like
punk, if you
whaling.
will.
Yeah, like whale punk.
Dishonored, bro. Whale
Yeah,
punk.
less sci-fi, like let's keep it old school and simple. But because we don't see that kind of stuff that often, and like again, Oberdin, just like that boat stuff and like classic boats and sailboats and all that stuff, lighthouses, all that stuff like hits home. So I get attracted to that stuff more. But is
Cool.
this you said is this
Well,
that
I'm coming
it's
at it from like Return of the Oberdin was I would collectively, like when you look at all of our top tens and we did our ranking or whatever, like Return of the Oberdin was our game of the year that year by a pretty
Mhm.
wide
Sure.
margin. And
It
then I
was
think
our game of the year, Nick.
it
Yes,
was
sure.
yeah
our game of the year.
this
Yes,
won't
It
be
it
of
didn't
course.
even get on. It wasn't even on Carlos's top 10 that year, though.
No one cares
Okay.
about Carlos.
Listen, when I finish this, I'll know exactly how I feel because I need that fourth ending because there's like after the third ending, like this is you're gonna get all the endings. This isn't the kind of game where you're not like because the last end it almost like not hold your hand, but it definitely like leads you in to a specific way because like once you get ending two, like at the end of it, like a quote comes up on the screen that like kind of hints at something like, hey, what if this never happened? And then the game starts over again and you can now like make changes. They do just for anybody who's afraid of like, oh, I don't want to do the 12 minutes thing of like skipping through a lot of dialogue or having to listen. Like they do this cool thing where an NPC after a while, like you because you're in a time loop, you can like walk up to a guy and be like, John, shut the hell up. Like, listen, just go here, tell this lady that she has to take the thing out of the thing at 1 o'clock, and then go tell this guy, and like he'll run all these errands so you don't have to like continually do them through
Interesting.
the time loop. So there's like a really cool way that they do it, and it's very traditional game like design. They didn't like do anything like crazy. They just use it in a cool way.
So so just kind of when I asked that question, I was and I asked this to like Brad once, and Brad obviously avoided the question like the plague, but like I think about like the past few years, or the past like 3 or 4 years, right? There's been like every year's had that one like kind of like indie game that's been like super special that like slowly builds momentum. You hear people talk about it, and then it kind of builds
Sure.
and builds, and by the end of the year, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" Last year
Yeah.
it was Hades, and then in 2019 it was Outer Wilds and Disco Elysium.
Here's the thing, Nick. I don't think this is quite like
At that
that.
level.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good one of those. It might end up in my top 10 for sure, but because it's different, and again, we don't get that much of this genre, and it's a good one of these. Like the leads and the characters, and it's good. It's a good one, but
All right.
like even then, I still like the comparison. I'm not shooting too high. I don't want to
Okay.
tell you it's
Okay.
that, and then you come
That's
into
why
it
I called it
expecting,
a loaded
you're like,
question.
this is kind of schlocky. Like, no, it's a cool one of those games, but I don't want to fucking compare this to Oberdin or to
Jeff.
Outer Wilds. Like those games are, especially Outer Wilds. Like fuck off. Like that.
Come
game
on,
is
Jeff. You gotta have some
crazy.
conviction.
No,
You gotta
no,
believe.
It's a good one of those, but I don't know if it's. Yeah, I'm not trying to put my balls on the table, bro. You know what I mean? Like you're crazy.
Show me those
Get
balls.
some
Okay.
skin in the game.
All right.
But it's cool. Play it.
All right, cool. So that's again the Forgotten City, not to be confused
Yeah.
with the game I tweeted about, which was the Forbidden City, which also probably exists, and we're not talking about that game. I could be wrong. I feel like both of those have to exist. But before we move on, I want to give Crispy a choice here because Crispy and Chris Davis have both played a decent amount of Deathloop. We're going to talk about that game in great detail next week, but I want to get some early first impressions from you guys. We're pushing 50 minutes on this segment. Do you want to talk about it now, or do you want to wait till we come back from the break?
Let's wait.
Okay.
That's
so
fine, yeah.
with that in mind, what other small quick mentions do we want to make? Nolan, is there anything you've been playing? It wasn't anything in the doc, but you never know.
Correct. There was nothing on the dock, but I have been playing some stuffs. Mainly for the 48th week in a row. Burnett and I are still playing Overcooked.
Oh, okay.
4-starring all the levels.
How goes that?
Things either go great or we yell at each other furiously.
But you're all good, right?
That's what I
Wait.
expect.
But you guys are nasty now, right? Like you're like, wait, you're like, you have it.
How you mean?
Like if you're getting 4 stars in that game, you got to be pretty like optimal. Because I do.
Oh no, yeah, dude, we got it fucking down packed. Like it gets to the point where like we don't have to communicate with each other. We know what each other are doing. We communicate with like single like syllable words.
Dude, I'm picturing when something gets fucked up, y'all are like yelling at each other like Gordon Ramsay in Hell's Kitchen. Like you're just like,
it
ripping
can
into
get pretty
each other.
intense. It can get pretty intense. But it's still fun. We finished the first game. We're a little over halfway through the second game, 4-starring all the levels. But anyway, and then also I don't have it in front of me, but I can pull it up real quick. According to Steam, I'm trying to pull up my Steam real quick, but it's not opening. Library. All right. According to Steam, I have played 235 hours of Cookie Clicker.
Oh,
dear.
Well, that's an idle game. You just let that run.
He just lets it run.
I just let it run. For those who are curious and have clicked the cookie, hey, there's Green Toast. I was going to ask you your stats, Green Toast. I have baked 408 quindecillion cookies. That's
how many football fields is that?
A lot. And then I have 6.1 trillion prestige cookies with another 1.2 trillion currently in the works. So yeah,
this game doesn't have like a folding at home thing going on while it's sitting, idle, right?
What do you mean, folding at home? What do you mean?
Yeah, like like you remember back on the PS3 when there was that project through Hopkins to do supercomputer calculations for vaccine research and stuff.
Ew, no, I don't think so.
Like that. This would be like a great opportunity for them to just like kind of like tie into that.
It's not really like it's not really processing anything. It's just counting.
Yeah, it's just counting. My current CPS, because Blobly asked, this is base CPS, so no modifiers.
Cookies per
34
second.
Correct.
Okay.
34.372 tressadillion. And then my cookies per click is 8.3 tressadillion.
Multiple tressadillions per second.
Yeah, 34.3 per second.
What the fuck, man?
Nolan, a system that is built to make cookies is not built to make justice.
That's true.
Is
I saw you didn't link me that video, or I didn't get. I wanted to watch it because what you had said sounded interesting.
I want to watch it. Yeah.
Have you linked that to me? I'll check it out. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's interesting because it is all about trying to. First off, when you first start, you're making tins of cookies a second.
Scale. It's scale.
Yeah, no, it's all about scale. It's exponential growth, and there's this yeah, no, it definitely does. There's this kind of thing where it's like I have to ascend, because when you ascend, you basically carry all of your achievements with you, and you have a multiplier of your achievements. So based on your number of achievements, that changes the amount of milk you get. And when you get kittens, that increases the milk. So since I've unlocked 440 achievements, I have a bunch of milk. I have up through so let's see, I have chocolate milk, regular milk, strawberry milk, lime, vanilla milk.
I'm sorry,
no,
lime milk?
Yeah, and mint milk.
How do they measure the milk? Gallons?
Maple milk? No, I don't know. For every X number of achievements, you unlock a new type of milk.
Oh.
And then when you get kittens, that adds to a milk multiplier. So because of that, because of my kittens and my milk, my multiplier for my kittens is 52.865 billion% increase. 52 billion%. And so it's just one of those things where it's it's all about trying to figure out ways to optimize your stuff. You have different things that are making the cookies for you, grandmas, you have cookie factories, cookie alchemy labs.
Yeah.
Don't forget your time
grandmas rise up in revolution against you, and you have to put down the grandma rebellions.
Yeah, it's a grandma apocalypse.
Yeah.
And when that happens, the grandmas go insane, and bad shit can happen. But the problem is, some good shit can happen. So normally when you're playing, these golden cookies will randomly appear, and clicking on them will often either just give you a bunch of free cookies, or it'll give you a temporary multiplier based on one of your buildings or something like that. But during the grandma apocalypse, sometimes it'll they're wrath cookies. And so you can lose a bunch of cookies, or for the next 2 minutes your cookie production is halved.
Do you ever eat a cookie?
Me?
I mean, in the game.
Or in the game.
What do you do with all these cookies?
Well, you use them as currency
to get more cookies.
To get more cookies, yes. You use them, dude. There's a cookie stock market in this.
Trading cookies to make more cookies?
No. So you're not trading cookies. Hold on, let me pull it up.
I am genuinely shocked about how much we have to say about
there's cookie, there's cereal, there's chocolate, there's butter, there's sugar, there's nuts, salt, there's cream, there's cinnamon, eggs. All of this is on the market.
There's another game like this that I played that I really enjoyed called Universal Paperclips. Have you ever heard of that one, Nolan?
I don't know that one.
It's less flashy. It doesn't have as much visual elements going on, but you should try that too, because it's another one of those things where instead of cookies, you're just producing paper clips. So you're eventually building
sounds thrilling,
a universe that is one giant machine for making paper clips.
So at what point
they don't even make paper anymore. It's just paper clips.
At what point in Cookie Clicker do you open the cookie singularity? Because it feels like you've got to be close, right?
So there is an actual limit to how high the game can. So I don't know. I know when it was purely a JavaScript browser game, the limit to how high you could go was one and then E308. So essentially 308 zeros
God.
behind the 1.
Exponential.
Because at that point JavaScript is like, that's infinity. I don't care. Like it stops counting, because at that point it's like I'm not going to store a number that large, or I'm just going to call it infinity. So there is a point where you could get there. I don't know if anyone's ever gotten there without cheating, because that is like an insane number. I'm not going to play this game forever. It's getting to the point where I've kind of
Don't
unlocked
believe you.
most of the reasonable stuff. The rest of the stuff is pretty unreasonable in a timely manner. Because a lot of it's like, oh, one of the achievements is for having 365 sugar lumps. The thing is, sugar lumps happen once, essentially every 23 hours. So that's almost a year's worth of playing that you would have to. It's kind of stuff like that. So I'm getting to the point where I don't want to say my returns are diminishing, but like the numbers I need to approach are so large that
what you're saying is it's unsustainable growth.
it's not unsustainable. It's more about, I just have other shit I'd rather do.
It's unsustainable.
Than leave it running 24/7.
Your
No,
time,
granted,
your time is a resource, Nolan.
that's true. That is a fact.
I do like that there was a conversation. I don't remember who it was, but in Discord, somebody was like asking Nolan if they could play one of his games on his Steam account.
Yeah,
but he was like, I
Brad
can't
wanted
do
to
it
play
because
something.
it's constantly running Cookie Clicker.
Yeah.
And I was like,
no,
pretty
you
funny.
can't.
It's like, sorry, I have more important things to do.
I did tell him if I had been home at the time, I would have killed the game so he could play something. But I was out of the house, so I couldn't. But it's one of those things where I have gotten to a point where now, when I turn off the game, I retain a lot of that CPS for quite a while. It'll just keep going on its own, but then after it will slowly diminish over time, and eventually it will stop. So as long as I boot up the game once every few days, it'll keep going. But I still get more with it running just because it's clicking and stuff. But whatever. I don't know. That's Cookie Clicker. That's I've been playing it.
All right.
It's so
Good for you, Nolan. Keep going. All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we have a few quick mentions. I do want to open with Deathloop. Like I said, we'll talk more at length about Deathloop next week, but I do want to get early impressions from the Chris's in the group, because obviously Deathloop is the new hotness, and seems to be reviewing pretty well. So we'll get a taste of that when we get back. We'll answer some questions, and of course, we'll wrap up with the 4-player minute. So if you're watching us live, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to my weekly update. I'm not going to be as loud as I usually am. As you see, I've been having a hard time finding time to do these, but, the people gotta know what I've been playing. I don't have any food this time because I've tried eating and, food falls on his head, and that's not good. But, what have I been playing? I almost didn't do this because I haven't really been playing anything new. I started Tales of Arise, but I played the demo and I kind of shared my thoughts on that a couple weeks ago. But I will say, not very far, only about 6 hours in, and I've played a lot of Tales games, and this seems like a Tales game. I noticed that this one is like reviewing a lot better and a lot more people are buying it, and I'm happy for them. I think it's probably because the visuals look nicer this time around, but other than that, it seems like kind of a tried and true Tales of game. The things that are good about Tales of games lately are still good, right? Has a good cast, good interactions, with all the skits and stuff, and the combat system's fun. And, where it struggles, there's like, the dungeon design, the world design, all that stuff is really not all that changed from the last handful of entries, so. but it's still good. I love Tell's games. I loved the last one, and I love this one. I'm looking for a character to spice things up a little bit. Magilu from Berseria was one of the best Tales of characters, and everything in this one seems very serious. So I'm hoping it ends up skits a little bit and makes things a little more fun. But I'm having a good time. Other than that, I'm trying to finish 100%ing Psychonauts 2. That's kind of taken some time, and I'm still playing The Great Ace Attorney on the Switch. That's been fun. Other than that, I got Deathloop ready to start, and Metroids started next month, and Lost Judgment. I'm going to be playing Lost Judgment, which should be coming out next week, I think. So I'm kind of excited about all those games. Have a lot of stuff to play. I'll be talking about them here. There's one other game though that came out today, and I see this right here. It's an iPhone 6s. Nick gave this to me years ago when Apple Arcade first launched, because I really wanted to play Grindstone, because it's a puzzle game from a developer I really love. They made Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, which is one of the greatest hidden gems of all time. Anyways, Grindstone's good. You should try it out. But Apple Arcade, this motherfucking thing. I've never had an Apple device. Castlevania, a new Castlevania game came out. Castlevania Grimoire of Souls, which is a free-to-play gacha Castlevania game that was released in Canada a couple years ago, and then Konami just decided, you know what, we're going to cancel this and not release it anywhere. Well, I guess they made a deal with Apple, finally putting it out. And from what I understand, the game, despite it being a free-to-play gacha, kind of alright. It reminds me a lot of Castlevania Harmony of Despair, which is the one that came out on 360 and PS3. That's multiplayer, and it's like Diablo, and you get all this loot and stuff. I love that fucking game. And I saw a trailer of this, and even though the visuals are kind of underwhelming, it reminded me a lot of that game. This one's also multiplayer, so I really want to play it. If anything, just for good Castlevania remixes, because the music is going to be good. It's going to be good. But here's the problem. The only iOS device I have is this old ass iPhone 6s, and the battery is on its last legs, and I can't play more than half an hour of this game. So I'm currently trying to find a solution, maybe acquiring an Apple TV or something. There's got to be a good way to play this. Get it on my TV. I know you can hook up a controller, but I'm currently looking for a better solution to play it, because I don't know, I'm an idiot and I love Castlevania, and if this is all we got, I'll take it. It's probably better than Lords of Shadows. So yeah, that's what I'm playing, and that's what I'm trying to play. And other than that, I don't know. Baby, he's tough. If you put him down, he cries, even if he's fed and dry. So you either have to hold him or wear him. Otherwise, he's fucking crying, man. It's tough. It's tough, but I've been here before. Anyways, I'm looking forward to Halloween. I kind of want to play some spooky games. I might talk about them here. And I don't know. Yeah. Sorry this isn't very loud, but I can't be too loud right now. So let me know. I know people in the comments kind of said maybe they'd want me to do some more snacks, or cooking with Brad or something. And I was thinking about that. It was just kind of hard to do it this week. I'm also thinking of maybe doing some sort of show and tell or unboxing or something, where I show you things that I have around my desk, or maybe there's something I can acquire and open, and that'll be exciting. I don't know. Looking for ideas. Let me know. Anyways, I'm gonna stop this because he's kind of getting restless. I don't know if you can hear him. I think it's time to eat. Anyways, y'all have a good day.
Okay, welcome back to the show, everybody. As I said before the break, I want to open this segment by talking to the Chris's about their first impressions of Deathloop. Y'all have had some time with it. I have not. I don't think anybody else here has, but I don't know who wants to start, but Crispy, I'm gonna just pick you.
No, let Chris.
Or Chris
let Chris
Davis.
start.
Chris Davis.
Okay.
I'll jump in when it feels appropriate.
Hit us with your hot Deathloop takes, or
My hot
not so hot.
Deathloop takes.
Do you have footage?
Yes, I do. I was able
okay.
to capture some this evening,
I
and
think
I
that'd be
was for
helpful.
once not invaded.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So Deathloop's pretty fucking good, man. It's pretty fucking good. I know it took like
Arcane's
37
latest
trailers to like
jam.
market this game to people, and there's still a lot of people that really don't understand what this game is. But it makes perfect sense when you just sit down and you just start playing in the first hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to interrupt.
I was just gonna say, like, the whole idea of it, like, looping through a day, like, the game actually, like, holds your hand through the first day.
Yes.
Like, the first actual loop, and then, like, a little bit beyond that. And then after that lets you go, like, okay, you can choose how to spend the day now.
Yeah.
Which
basically,
is
you
helpful.
get to your first fight with Juliana, and then if you survive, you begin the game proper, if you will.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Also, I do want to preface this by saying let's avoid spoilers. Like specifics, because this is obviously a game. This is a time loop game, so it is to some extent repetition. But there's obviously a central mystery at play here that I don't really want to know anything about. But it's also the same mystery.
I'll agree. I don't want to know spoilers personally.
But if you watched any of the mini trailers they put out for this game, especially like I think back to like the first time this game was announced, like whatever 4 or 5 years ago, or whatever, and it was like a CG trailer, and even that I think did a pretty good job of kind of setting up what the general premise is or what the general mystery is, because like as I understand it, you don't really, when the game opens, you don't really have any understanding of why you're in this loop or what's happening. But I would imagine as
you know why you're in the loop. Okay. You don't really know why the loop exists.
Why it's actually happening.
Right. Or like what the goal of the people who are protecting it is, kind of thing. But there's also a lot of stuff that's like, there's stuff that feels like it's part of the mystery that like nothing, like there's a lot of stuff that is just kind of like thrown out. That's like you just learn by hearing people talk or by like picking up notes, or like there's not a lot that's like staged as like this big dramatic reveal. It's just more like it's almost kind of like Disco Elysium in a way, where it's like you're in a situation where you're the only one that doesn't know what's going on. Everybody else does to a certain extent, and you're kind of just like faking it till you do understand what's going on. You know,
make it till you make it.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of stuff that like, you know, we could say to you that might sound like a spoiler, but like to the game, it's just like, this is just information that's flying around, you know? And I still don't really know what the big picture is, but I kind of have a better understanding of like, what I'm saying is I don't know that these answers are all going to be like as narratively satisfying as like you maybe think they are.
And I don't think they are. It's just one of those situations where it does strike me one way or the other, whether it delivers on those promises or whether it delivers something satisfying narratively speaking. But it's also it is one of those situations where I think you are. And
there's a lot of stuff blind. There is a lot of stuff about the loop that like is still not entirely clear, and like you kind of learn about. I don't know. You learn about its relationship with the people. Like, so for instance, like, you know, off the bat that Juliana and Colt retain their memories. But it's not really clear why that is. And on top of that, Colt begins the game not knowing anything. But it also kind of seems like he's already in the loop, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know why. And Juliana talks to you in ways where it's like, you know, like, you've already been doing this, but you don't remember it, but now you do remember it, and from this point on, you're going to keep remembering it, right? And there might be, like, there's at least one other character that I've encountered in the world who does remember things between iterations, but it's not clear why. but it's also
Yeah.
not really like a big deal that he does. It's more like they made it that way because of the mechanical role that he fills in the game. It just makes more sense for him to retain that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so it's like it's just like it's really like I don't even really know what I am and am not supposed to know at times.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think it's important to note, if you weren't aware, this is Arcane, who are
Right.
obviously known for Dishonored 1, 2, and Prey. If you go farther back, as we are for the Revival Club right now, Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, which, by the way, that game's incredible. So
This is like the kind of the best of both worlds approach between Dishonored and Prey. You got that great vertical level design of Dishonored, and you've got the fairly decent, could have been better, but fairly decent combat from Prey that has been improved in this.
I think like the
a
world state thing too in Prey is a little more prevalent here.
a
Where like
little more. I mean, I just because of the nature of the
Wait,
time loop and how levels are structured. Because not to put too fine a point to it, but levels are as part of the time loop. It's a linear progression of time. So you'll go to a level, it'll be the morning. You'll go to the next level, it'll be the afternoon. Noon, afternoon, and then evening, and then the loop
So
will
time
reset.
doesn't pass. So like time, like you won't go.
time
you won't ever
doesn't
go from
progress
morning-
while you're in
No.
a level.
Okay,
No.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah, and so there's 4 maps and there's 4 times a day. And that's
Gotcha.
it. And it's just you going through those different like over and over again, like trying to figure out how different like how all the different gears like fit together. And like every time you're going through so for instance, the next thing you want to focus on might be like, oh, I gotta go find this guy over here at noon, but it's morning right now. So my question is, do I want to spend that morning just like exploring a different area and maybe see if I can learn something or pick up like a new lead, or do I just want to skip the morning and go straight to the afternoon, but I can't go back, right? And at the end of the day, no matter what, you're gonna reset. And there's like loot and currency to consider in that transaction too, because it's like when you reset, right? Like you don't
Mm.
bring things back with you except until you do. Like yeah, it's like and then like part of the calculation becomes like collecting this specific kind of currency to infuse items so that you can bring them with you into your next loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I found this really cool gun. I want to hang on to this. Or I found this really cool power. I want to hang on to it. So I need to like collect this currency so that I can infuse it so I can bring it into the next loop so that I have it for when I go do, this other thing next time, right?
Hmm.
But you're not always going to have enough of that to do, to save everything, to do what you want to do. So when you're making these calculations of like, what am I doing in this loop? You're also having to like say like, am I okay with getting rid of some of this like really cool gear that I have right now? Because when I'm done, I'm gonna reset.
Yeah.
Is this a fucking stealth game or is it an action game?
No,
Oh.
so there is stealth that is an option, but this is very much an action game. The game has no ability for you to do multiple saves, so you can't save scum. But it can also be a little punishing because you can really only like upgrade your selection of skills and the skills themselves, but not necessarily your character. So you can die very easily. But not to put too fine a point on it, but at the very beginning of the game, Colt gets an ability that's inane only to him, in which he can die multiple times within a loop without going back in time.
Yeah.
So you can use those scenarios to where you get ambushed or something like that and you die, and you'll kind of be pushed back to a certain spot, like a minute previous or something like that, somewhere on the map.
Oh, really?
And then you can progress forward.
Right.
But
Right.
that's
Without-
essentially an ability. It's not like a.
Right,
not
right.
like-
Well, hang on. We'll talk about abilities in a second. But like Chris kind of jumped away from the question there. This is a stealth game in that like the design is telling you this is a stealth game. But it's also not a stealth game in that, unlike a lot of stealth games, stealth is not necessarily the best option. Or like
No.
there's not a lot of things punishing you from not being stealthy. right?
Yeah.
Early on, maybe there is where like you just don't have enough firepower to like withstand a whole room of enemies, but like there's nothing in like for instance, I don't know if you've noticed, but every time he kills somebody, their body disappears because they're looping, they're like resetting, right? So you don't have to like worry about corpses, you know? You can just kill people, and then like if nobody sees you do it, they disappear, and then it's like, oh, where
Right,
you know
right.
that guy's just gone, right? Also, I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the people that you're fighting are just like a bunch of fucking drunks who are just like standing around drinking and smoke. Like no one's paying
Pretty much,
attention to
yeah.
anything. So like you could just like run through groups of people like stabbing and murdering them, and like they are not ready for you.
Nope.
Like like, and it's
But
really
they will
fun. This game,
fucking like gang up on you and destroy you if you're not
it's
careful.
like what like it really feels like people at Arcane were watching those like high chaos like super stealth, like what's that guy that does those on YouTube
I forget his
like
name,
for
but those are
Dishonored,
really
like he
good.
does the really high chaos like stealth runs where he's just running around levels like killing people, and they're like, how do we just make that more like the main
Right.
like mode of the game? And like
Mhm.
that's what Deathloop is, because
And
in
also,
Deathloop that's
Yes.
super effective, like
So Death-
playing like that.
It's-
Like,
I think it's important real quick to kind of we kind of skipped over like kind of the main point of the game for people who are uninitiated. Like you were doing this loop, but the goal ultimately is to take out how many? Like there's like 8 or
The
9.
the actual goal, like from the menu when you select the mode to play as Colt, the goal is break the loop.
Okay.
You very quickly find out that in order to break the loop, you have to kill these like 8 people, these
Gotcha.
8
Right.
visionaries.
So
And-
ultimately,
and that kinda
you're trying to
ties
work to a
in-
point where you can get all 8 in one run. So
Yes, you have
Yeah.
to kill all of them in one day.
And that's where the kind of Dishonored, that kind of level structure of going into an area and then learning about characters and then learning details about them and then manipulate
Right.
situations to where they
You
get
learn
put
their
to your advantage.
schedules, like yeah.
Yeah,
is it
so-
is it two visionaries per map?
No,
It
it's
varies.
I mean, sometimes,
Oh,
yeah,
does it?
and
they'll
the
they'll
other
travel
thing too,
between maps.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
depending on
Okay,
what you
cool.
do, like you can set up certain situations to get them like in places together, or like you'll find out. So like, there's this one guy, like there's this guy and this girl that you want to go kill. Who like the guy you can only get to him in the afternoon, the girl you can only get to her like in the evening or something. And then as you play on, you find out like, oh, these two are like having an affair, and they meet up in the morning over here. So you
Two
can
for
like
one.
find that out and go like find them and take them both out, you know?
Yeah.
and that's
Like-
the beauty. That's always been the beauty of like the way Arcane has designed their games, especially in Dishonored, obviously, because Dishonored, kind of at its core, is also about assassination, right? So
Oh yeah.
what seems really interesting to me about this game is how they've taken like the core, like the thing they're really good at, which is kind of environmental storytelling. And
I don't know if you're
and
paying attention, but Chris just killed one of the visionaries. Like he
Yeah.
just killed
I'm
one of
not
the
watching
targets.
the footage very
Um,
intentionally.
So and it was kind of like not even really that big a deal. Like not even like a big set of
I
fanfare or
like
anything.
that though. I like
But,
the
like-
idea that like these things aren't a huge deal. It's just like they're just like any other enemy you would kill. They're
Yeah.
just they happen to
But
be
you were
target.
asking about the powers, right? So the powers are all of these different aspects of the time loop. They're like these artifacts that
Called
contain-
slabs.
called slabs that contain different like aspects of the anomaly, which is what powers the loop. And each one of the visionaries, including Colt, has one that is like theirs specifically. That's like this person has the one that lets you like teleport around. This person has the one that lets you like link people together so that they like take
A lot
simultaneous
of very
damage.
familiar things from Dishonored. and
From like
Prey, too.
Dishonored.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or like this one
I
has
liked
one
Dishonored.
that gives you like berserk mode, like fighting strength. So to get those powers, you have to go kill those people, which means you're actually going around killing these like same 8 targets a lot, you know? Because also the only way to upgrade them is to just get another copy of that power, which usually means go kill that person again,
Yeah.
get their power again, and then use it to upgrade the power that you have.
Yeah. Or
So like
the
a lot
other,
of your early killing is just like, okay, I'm not even gonna worry about trying to get them all in the same day. I'm just gonna go around and try to kill this guy, get his power, and then I'm gonna spend the rest of the day earning enough of the like fucking currency to infuse that power so that I can bring it with me back to the beginning of the day. Because you can get a power and loop and lose it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah, so you have to,
Right.
you absolutely have to infuse. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's the thing though, is that killing the visionaries is the most direct way to get one of these powers, but
Mhm.
that's not necessarily the only way, because as part of this game's structure, you can be invaded by other players who play as Juliana.
Or you can also opt for that to be. It doesn't
NPC.
have to necessarily be player controlled. Juliana can also just be.
Right, but that's
computer
part.
control,
Right. But Juliana hunting you is a big part of the game.
Yeah,
Right.
if you are playing online, you are going to be invaded by a human player. You're never going to be invaded by just AI Juliana.
I think you
And
just
that's
taught
always
me how
been
to
my
use
experience.
This game sounds so fucking cool.
But the
It's
thing
really
is,
cool.
So the coolest thing to me is that like they managed to say like, okay, what are we good at, right? Like as developers, they took what they're good at and those level designs, and they were like, right, instead of making a bunch more levels and like make this sprawling thing, let's like tightly design these 4 things and then like make a rogue style kind of like loop engine through these sections that is, and like the way they kind of hide the rogue elements in a first person shooter kind of or a first person immersive sim game is like really dope, because like Crispy said, like, well, you can't die when you have a certain ability because you're trying to go back to kill one of the visionaries so you can get, in hopes of getting a drop that'll let you upgrade that, right? And that's like so today, right? Or the last 5 years, like Hades, it's all that kind of game. And just to see it kind of like incorporated into a different genre of game is like, it's really dope.
Exciting.
Yeah.
It's definitely.
Yeah,
It's definitely
I
exciting.
mean,
Chat, I run this thing on a 6 gig 970 i5.
I'm gonna go. That's a bit of a stretch.
I know.
I mean, also
I
here,
will say
PC,
the
Listen,
computer.
I'll run this shit at 1080. Like,
I'll tell you this: the
medium low.
PC performance is fiddly to begin with.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
apparently, like what a lot of people have been saying is that like whatever the fucking anti-cheat software that Bethesda packaged with it is just a huge resource hog. So the game gets like really framey, and there's a set of like settings and things that you can fuck with. There's good lists of settings, like do your graphics to these settings to minimize that, but it never quite goes away.
they did acknowledge it, and they say they're working on a patch for it right now.
I
Apparently.
will say after like 20 or 30 minutes of playing, I just like stopped noticing it, and like I was just going crazy, like running around having fun, and it never really felt like it was impacting combat per se. So I think if your computer's decent enough, like it probably won't be an issue, but
Yeah.
I don't know, there's people in the Steam reviews who are like, I've got the fucking recommended specs, like top of the line,
This
3070, and it's
this
still
is-
having trouble, so I don't know.
This is on Arcane's Void engine, which they used for Dishonored 2 and Prey, which is a offshoot of, I believe, idTech 5. I mean, at least on PS4, it can run smooth as butter. There's like
It's not on PS4.
4 different like
mean
settings
PS5.
for
PS5.
performance too.
I don't fucking have one, Chris Davis.
Yeah, it's not on PS4. I made
Sorry.
that mistake on launch day of being like, oh, I'll get the
Also,
PS4 version. Doesn't
I made
exist.
the mistake because Robin played Prey recently, and she was all excited. And then I kind of introduced her to Deathloop. She wasn't really aware of it. She's like, "Oh, this is cool," and I was like, "Yeah, you should just get it on Xbox." And then I was like, "Oh fuck, I forgot this has a timed exclusivity deal." So I was like, "I have some bad news for you." And she's like, "Fuck." So
Yeah.
real quick, I do want to mention too, because I know Crispy had brought it up, specifically because of my history with Hitman, because this does seem like it has a lot in. I think people who really, and this is me saying it as someone who has not played it yet, but I've read a lot about it. I've listened to a lot of people talk about it and heard y'all talk about it. It sounds to me like this is a game that if you like Hitman,
Whoa.
you're going to really enjoy it. Did your cat just turn off your light?
He just turned off the fucking light.
That
Wait.
is so
What?
cool.
Chris, the code to get into the tunnels is different for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought that code was like just I thought that code had like some kind of significance in the story or something.
Wow,
Like like the first part of the loop is like you have to get in this door that has a code, and all these words everywhere are like, you know the code, you already know the code, and like Colt's freaking out. He's like, I don't fucking know the code, and then you have to like do the whole loop. You learn the code and you go back and you know, like kind of thing.
He's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
the code
But
6969.
if you
I knew that.
Yeah.
if you try to enter the code 0451, you get a trophy unlock. By the way.
Really?
0451. What's that?
Oh, that's just a really common like unlock code that's been in arcane games and a bunch of other games.
Oh, gotcha. But sorry, real quick, kind of before your cat turned off the light, I was trying to. So
Boy.
Hitman, right?
Yeah.
Hitman.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Hitman, it seems to me like this is a game that's going to speak to you. But as someone who has a contentious relationship with Hitman, to say the least, I love the idea, but the trial and error aspect of it has really always rubbed me the wrong way. This seems to me like kind of the perfect answer to that, because it has all of the it has like, as lame as this sounds, I need that like narrative explanation for why I keep fucking up and I keep having to do shit over again. But because that is contextually literally the point of the game, what is happening, I don't feel like I'm gonna get that burnout or that sense of like I'm not having this smooth experience. Because like when I play Hitman, my problem is I'm like, I want to pull off this kill, and the moment I fuck something up and I have to I decide I'm going to reload something, I'm like, I hate this.
I completely know where you're coming from, Nick. I am a save scummer born and
It's
raised.
weird though. I don't even
You're
think
supposed to, right?
I
that's
get
how
like
you play stealth games. You're
I
supposed to.
get that the whole like the lore or whatever, like the whole premise of this game being stuck in a time loop maybe seems like that's why it's okay, and like you don't need to save scum. But like when you're talking about like Hitman and save scumming and things like that, like I really think that's like a mechanics thing. Like I really think the way the game is set up, the way the game is teaching you to think about the game, is telling you be stealthy or you're playing it wrong, right? I mean, even though you can complete a Hitman mission without being stealthy, you know, you can kill your opponent. You're just not like, you're getting like scores. It's like giving you like numbers that are saying like you're not getting these numbers, or we're taking numbers away because people saw you, or like you're not getting this cool trophy because people saw you, you know, that kind of thing. And this game, like the design language of it, the way it talks to you and the way it like is just kind of reinforcing what you do, you know, I think of it more in terms of like the way like Grand Theft Auto 5 treats itself, you know? Like you can play Grand Theft Auto by driving in the lines and going the speed limit and stopping at stop signs, but the game like doesn't acknowledge you for that, you know? It doesn't acknowledge that that's how you're playing. It doesn't have anything to say about that. But when you start blowing shit up, then the game's like throwing achievements at you, right? And this game is like constantly has like this internal monologue of like fucking kill everybody. Like it never says don't be seen. It never says don't go over here and shoot these guys. It just says fuck them, kill them. Like, I mean, that's it.
It does, but
and like there's like dialogue parts where like Colt is talking to Juliana and she's like, you know, maybe blowing things up and shooting things isn't the way to do it. And he's like, fuck you, I like doing that. Like like, you know what I'm saying? Like the game has, it's not just lore. The game has this culture of just like fucking do it. Like quit being such a fucking baby and like get over there and stab that guy. He's not gonna do anything. Like, look, Chris is just like fucking murdering people and it doesn't even matter. He doesn't even have bodies to pick up. You know?
I think the Hitman-y stuff in this is gonna be like finding the in-between stuff, right? Like, you know, in Hitman, a Hitman level is like when I first play a Hitman level, I just walk through the motherfucker. Like I don't kill nobody. I'm like scouting out the area.
Yeah, look for secrets.
Minutes. Yeah, I'll like scout an area and then I'll literally make a plan at that point. And then
that's
my
what
next
Arcane is so.
And what's great is that like this game you can still play like that. Like you can still choose to be like, it gives you all the tools you need to be that like super cool, like nobody saw him stealth assassin. Like you can have that fantasy if that's what you want to do. It's just that like they've inverted the sort of like carrot stick
Attitude.
situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whereas before a stealth game is going to design itself around the assumption of stealth and say like, oh yeah, you can complete it non-stealthy. It's just maybe not going to be, quite a whiz bang time. This game is saying like, yeah, you can complete it stealth. We'll tell you, we'll give you people's perception. We'll let you mark people. We'll give you invisibility skills. We'll let you teleport around. But also, if you don't want to do that, we're not going to fucking tie your hands.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
guns kill. Like your fucking machete kills. Like you are a fucking killing machine.
This game is
And it
turning
doesn't,
this
like-
into fucking crazy.
No, but I mean, like, that's what it is. And it's like, that's the whole vibe of the island, too. It's just like this hedonistic fucking, like, fuck pit of violence and like, pleasure,
He's
It's-
not
it's
lying. That is
crazy.
what this fucking island is.
Like, everyone is literally, like, walking around fucking drunk off their ass being like, I don't fucking care. Like, one thing you kind of pick up early on is that, like, everybody thinks that they are gonna be looped like you. Like, everybody thinks that they're gonna experience every iteration as a new day, and they don't realize that they're all stuck in the first day.
yes.
Right.
So people like don't fucking care about dying. Like there's a guy who like submits himself to being executed at this ritual in the morning that you find out you need him to be alive later in the day to get into his shop to do something. But like the guy left a note on his door that's like, I'm gonna go get fucking killed this morning, but don't worry, I'll be back tomorrow. Like, but like he's just is getting killed every single day over and over again,
There are so many instances of that in this game. You'll find NPCs that'll just. I found one in the evening.
Wait. Chris Davis.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
It just
you're right.
sounds
I'm
like
sorry.
you're
This is too good
listing
for
spoilers.
You
Yeah,
like
I'm not.
you kill somebody and like an NPC will be like, "What? Oh, are they fucking dead?" And then they're like, "I don't know. Like, what even is dead anymore?" Like, like it's just like it doesn't fucking matter. Just kill everybody. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
All
Like, yeah. It's so good.
Just
It sounds awesome. We're gonna talk more about this next week. I will have played a bunch of it. I'm not sure if Nolan has plans to play it, but
Probably will.
we're gonna go into more. And I know Ed's gonna be on next week, and he wanted to really talk about this game. He's looking forward to it a lot. So
And
we're
I
gonna
would
go-
really
we're
like
gonna-
to next week spend some time talking about specifically the invasion mechanic because there's some
Okay.
pretty interesting things there.
Absolutely. So we're gonna dive deeper into it next week. So for now, we're gonna move on. But Deathloop sounds awesome. I'm very much looking forward to playing it. If you remember, I will say I'm gonna plug the Revival Club real quick because I'm almost done with this game. So we're gonna be moving on from it pretty quick here. But we were doing this in preparation for Deathloop. I didn't quite finish it before Deathloop came out. But we're playing Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, which is an early Arcane game. Had no expectations going into that. Didn't really think this was gonna feel like an Arcane game. Absolutely wrong about that. It's got like everything that makes Arcane great, but like in a totally different setting than what you're used to. So I'll be talking about that on a podcast here pretty soon. But yeah, we're wrapping that up now, and that game is dope as hell. So if you're looking for a taste of classic Arcane, check that out. So before we move on to questions, I want to do some quick mentions. Jeff, I know you had another game you wanted to mention, maybe two. I'm gonna let you.
I'll just rattle off
Figure that out.
some quick shit, a couple minutes.
Okay.
Eastward just came out.
Ooh, did you start that?
Yeah, I started it. I played like 5 hours of it.
Are you playing on
so,
Switch?
So, yeah, I'm playing on Switch. So here's just real quick. I'm not going to get into any details about it. I just want to ramble on about it.
Okay.
It's easy to see one of these. Like, not really. You don't have to appreciate. Like, it's easy to see one of these games, and if you're not like super appreciative of like the art of it, then it's easy to like just be like, it's another one of those, right? It's another 2D side-scrolling adventure action game, because it is. In reality, it is one of those games. Like, it's not like, at least so far, it's not doing like anything like super.
It's nothing
different.
special. Yeah.
Right, but it is like this one's different in a way that like I can see, like it just feels like a labor of love. Like you can tell, like these dudes and women and whoever else worked on this game, like they fucking cared about every single goddamn pixel. The amount of animation and like there's more frame animation than just like your standard frames. You could tell like things sway with like great animation and like. it feels like a mid 80s Steven Spielberg movie about like this like the narrative is driving, like it's good, it's fun. Like in the first 10 minutes you're in a dungeon, so like I expected this to be like, okay, JR, it's going to be a RPG. The first 40 minutes is just going to be blah 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 the whole time, but like it doesn't. It seems to be a really good one of these, and it even if it just is in the end, even if it just is another one of these, it definitely feels like one that was made with like all intentions to be like just like we love these games and we
It's
love.
a love letter.
Yeah, it's such a love. Like, watch the cutscenes and the animations, and like just watch a trailer of this game, and like, or take a look at a screenshot, like a full screen screenshot, and like just pay attention to everything. Like, it's not just like, bro, they didn't just take a like a wood floor plank and then copy and paste that shit throughout. Like, they like painstakingly looked like they made that the whole sprite, like the whole floor. So every detail and crack is completely different than like it being a looped sprite or an asset in that way. You know what I mean? Like, they really, like, the sprite work on this is like incredible. And again, like the animation, and it plays really well. Like, that's the other thing. Like, the one thing I did get out of the first 5 hours is like, ooh, this feels really good to play. And right off the jump, it's instantly like not as like it's instantly more daring than like a Zelda game of this style. Like in the first dungeon, they ain't just throwing like, there's some complexity. So I don't know how deep it gets, but it seems to be heading in a good direction, where I think it's just going to be like, if you like those kind of games, this is probably going to be like one of the good ones or really great ones this year, based on just what I played. And then real quick, the last thing I want to bring up is a game that I think is overlooked, but a lot of my friends, it came out on Switch earlier this year. It's called There Is No Game, Wrong Dimension. And like, I overlooked it. I probably would have never played it if like four friends weren't like, man, like, did you play this? And I just kept saying no, and then it just didn't sound like my kind of game, right? Because I'm not really into comedy games, and this definitely feels or sounds like one of those. But I played it, and it's really cool. It's really cool. It's a
Brad talked about it on the show back in February, I think.
I knew
he
somebody
did?
Yeah, somebody mentioned it. I can't remember who it was, but I
It was Brad.
I didn't know that.
Did he like it?
I was kind of waiting
he loved
for.
it.
I thought it was Nolan for a second, so I was waiting for Nolan's head.
No,
to, like,
it's been on my to play list. I've been waiting for it to officially come out.
Game. Yeah. It
Oh yeah,
seems
no,
like your kind of
definitely.
game. Anyway, it's really good. It's like a really, it's kind of a short point and click adventure game that, like, where you do not directly play the characters in the game. You play you. Like, you play the dude sitting in the chair. The game is constantly telling you, like when the game loads up, it's like, hey, what's going on? Like, thanks for showing up, but there is no game. And that's it. And then you start clicking around, and then like the intro title screen becomes a brick breaker game, and you start fucking destroying the title screen. And then, and then when it's done, some cheeky French guy is like, why did you break my intro screen? Now I have to, it's just this like comedy game that uses these mechanics though in really interesting ways. I hope Brad liked it, because I thought it was.
I remember him liking it. I remember talking to him.
Yeah, because by the time I got to the 4th chapter, I was like, fuck, this game is like blowing my mind, and like, just again, the cool way that it introduces mechanics. Or it uses these simple mechanics to fuck with different genres of video games that you just never consider. And like, there's this Zelda section that I almost feel like, man, I wish they made a game that played just like this. Like, instead of you directly controlling Link, like Link does things, like he's gonna be a character just doing what he's supposed to, and you can manipulate how to control him by doing stuff to the world around him to get him to do what you want him to do. It's that kind of stuff. It's really like innovative and like really cool for an adventure game. So like if you skip that this year, please like give it a shot. It's on Switch. It came out earlier this year and I just finished it. It's short. It's like, and I think it's cheap. It's really worth your time. And it has something really cool to say about like game development. And what it means to like make a video game and care about it so much. And the game like like I had an emotional moment with this video game, which is so freaking weird because it wasn't it's like a comedy through and through for the most part, and then it stops becoming one for a second and it's like actually this is kind of sad. You know what I mean? And then you're like, because I'm making it, because next gen, like we've been making a game, I like related to it, and I was like, oh fuck, like yeah, this is sad, you know, like, and it just hit me in the right place, especially having dipping my toes in game development for the last fucking 8 years. So it has something to say about like what it means to like make a game and release it and let it go as a game dev, and like it's just really cool. Play it, please.
It's called There Is No Game, Wrong
There
Dimension.
Is No Game, Wrong Dimension. Yeah, it's
Cool,
on Switch.
cool.
It's on Steam, I think. It's on PC for sure. I bet it's probably better there. But the Switch was fine. The touchscreen stuff was fine.
Sweet. All right. Are there any other quick mentions? We do need to get on to questions. All right. So I'm gonna let Nolan take us away. We got some questions. I didn't really highlight anything this week, Nolan, so I'm just gonna let you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do your thing.
There's one that was highlighted from last week that we never got around to, so we'll do that one and then we'll kind of go from there.
Sounds good.
All right, so the first question this week comes from Beck. If you could play any video game ever made with anybody, past or present, who and what game would you pick?
Man, I've always had this like weird. It's like one of those thoughts you have where it's like, how cool would it be just like the most like something that's like sensory overload, and go back and play it with maybe not anyone in particular, but like someone from a different time, like go back to like go back to like the early 1900s when like the most advanced thing they had was like these silent stop motion films or whatever, and just like show them Grand Theft Auto 5 or something like that. I feel like that would be a really fun, or a movie, or I don't know, anything like that would be cool to go back and show something.
I was gonna say, like, if you were to go back, I wouldn't show them that. I would show them more like a good VR game, because that's something that I think would completely blow their minds. Because they potentially have the concept of like moving pictures, and it's like, oh, this is a moving picture you control. But then, like, if you were to like go back to like 1902 and show someone like super hot VR, like, holy shit, like that
Think
would
about
be
it this way. Think about it this way. If you go back and show someone, like, let's just stick with the
hot.
Let's just go back and think about like showing them Grand Theft Auto 5 for a second, just to keep that going. Like,
Sure.
Not only would they be blown away by oh, this looks amazing, they'd be like, all of the stuff that's being rendered on the screen is stuff that doesn't even exist in their reality. So like cars, like moving cars and skyscrapers and planes and all that shit, while also being rendered at like high definition graphics, and you're controlling it, and I feel like that'd be fun.
No, I would.
Not necessarily the exact answer or the answer to the question, but
like,
Okay,
I would want to take like a decent PC and a good VR headset back to like a mall in the early mid 90s when you had those VR arcades popping up everywhere, and then show them like what that technology will eventually become in like 25, 30 years. Like, dude, show them Half-Life Alyx and make them go, here's an index controller, go have fun.
Oh, are you kidding me? Go back in time and show Thomas Jefferson Cruelty Squad.
That would
be like, this is where culture is going to be 300 years after you die.
This is
you old bitch.
This is from the country we're making.
I do not know what Cruelty Squad is. Okay, Crispy is looking at me like I should Google that, but maybe I shouldn't.
It's a Carlos game.
Is it? Okay. Is it? All right.
I don't have the proper adjectives to describe it.
Okay, fair enough. Oh, I mean, just like to give like a more specific answer because he wanted to know like an actual person. I would maybe like go back to like the early '90s and pick some like someone who is like a prolific game developer today. I'm like blanking on
Hideo Kojima.
Hideo Kojima. Yeah, Hideo Kojima, who already is the kind of person who like latches onto everything that's like technology and craziness.
Go back in time and show Cliff Bleszinski, fucking, what's, oh god, no, I was gonna say something like the exact opposite, like,
Katamari Damacy.
no, what is the fucking, oh no,
Boy.
I just keep wanting to say Home Alone, and that's not what it's called.
Gone Home?
Gone Home, yes. And be like, this is what's popular, and maybe like change the entire trajectory of his career. No,
Yeah,
or like, I think I would want to go back in time and show Dave Arneson, just like Dark Souls or Demon Souls. Dave Arneson is one of the co-creators of, is co-creator of Dungeons and Dragons and the creator of the Blackmore campaign setting, and I just think he'd like it. I just think it'd be like, that's really cool.
Does he wait? Does he like it? Or like, do you know that he's already a fan of that stuff?
Well,
like
his personal campaign setting was Blackmore, which if you hear the stories about like the way they used to play that game, it's a lot of like what is like kind of the meme depiction of like old school D&D, where it's like literally just like these treasure hungry murder hobos like invading a castle and ransacking and murdering everything, and like if your buddy dies, like you've already looted his corpse before it like hits the ground, like kind of thing, you know. I just think that like dark, gritty bullshit fantasy would be up his alley.
Absolutely.
Or
I like
J.R. Tolkien.
Gamerbeck's answer in chat says, "Go back and play Lust from Beyond with Jesus."
Jesus Christ.
Jesus. Yes.
You know what? Better yet, just go back. Just
play anything with Jesus. Just play Mario with Jesus.
Just go back in time and show anybody from like again like the early 1900s where they have just like nothing but like the most basic ass moving pictures and show them like hardcore pornography.
Imagine having the fucking ability to do something like that, and instead you go back to show someone fucking video games. You didn't go back to change something that sucks in the future. You didn't go back to change or bring like us closer to world peace. You went back to show fucking George Washington fucking Super Metroid.
You went back in time to show Adolf Hitler Wolfenstein.
Oh, yes. Right?
Shit, that was secretly the best answer.
Don't give him the idea for the giant mech suit he wears.
Oh my god. Whew, then you accidentally. Never mind. We're not gonna go down that hole. Next question.
Let's not. Next question from this guy. I think it's called the Drunken Merchant.
Oh,
I know that guy.
Yeah, we all do.
Summer is here and the beaches are open here in Chicago. Went with some friends and my sunscreen washed off in the lake. Now I'm red as a raspberry. What's the worst you've ever been sunburned?
I don't even know how to quantify this. I mean, like
pretty bad.
Yeah, like I feel like we've all.
I used to go out on boats in the fucking in the Gulf, like during summer, like all the time, and I didn't wear sunscreen, and I'm white as a fucking sheet. I used to get so goddamn burned. Like, I hated wearing sunscreen so much that I was like, no, I don't want to do it, you know. And then I don't know. I'm probably gonna get melanoma.
I'm the guy that puts. I'm the guy who puts on sunscreen and then just ends up with like a patchy sunburn instead.
Yeah.
But like I can think of, I went to Lake Tahoe once when I was a kid, and I got pretty super burned there. And I've burned myself pretty bad several times going to Schlitterbahn. Yeah, and when I say bad, I mean like most of my like shoulders and upper back are like peeling, like pretty good, like, you know, pretty severely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to
That's
quantify
miserable.
badly is the answer.
What really sucks is when you wear glasses and you get burned like in this
No.
area.
Yes.
And then, like wearing your glasses is just
yes.
You rule number one, fucking, if you lay down at all in the sun, like fucking set your phone alarm. You know what I mean? Like I live like 2 blocks from the beach. I'm on like a nice peninsula, like where I moved to. While having the baby, we bought this house, so we're at the beach a lot. And like, yeah, you can't fucking stay out there for too long. You gotta flip like a burger, bro. You need to flip like a burger. Flip it over.
Even when it's cloudy, man, like you can't.
Oh yeah.
I'm picturing Jeff waking up from like accidentally falling asleep, but like everybody's like there's nobody around him, so he just wakes up and just screaming into the void. Why did anybody wake me up?
No, Nick. It was I laid on my front, and I'm like, I work like outside a lot, so like my upper body is pretty tan, like just naturally from being just regular sun.
Yeah, it is.
Before the summer, and then like when summer hits, like the plan is to like tan my legs because they've been in fucking work pants, you know, so my legs are like wicked white. That's a wicked Boston thing to say, right?
I didn't want to say anything.
So like I once fell asleep and forgot to set an alarm for like an hour or something like that, and my front and the like from my knees to, and like I hiked my shorts up so I got like past the knees, so like I didn't have to worry about tan lines ever showing, and your upper thigh getting fucking sunburn is the worst. And I got like really bad, like to the point where like my skin was almost gonna like blister up, you know, and like you can't do shit. Your upper thigh, you don't want to wear pants, you can't do shit where upper thigh burns. It sucks.
That sounds awful.
I
never had the pleasure of experiencing that.
I've had 2 bad ones in my entire life. Most of my other ones have just been mediocre at best. But I had 2 bad ones. One was I think my junior year in high school. We went to Corpus Christi for like a band thing. And I got a super bad sunburn because I had, similarly, I pull up my swim suit really high to, tan your legs or whatever.
Yeah.
But I got a really bad one on the back of like my knees or like kind of right, like upper calf. And all I had brought was right around there. But all I had brought was shorts. And so then when you're walking in shorts, like the edge of the short keeps hitting the sunburn, and oh my god, every step was like miserable. But then that wasn't the worst. The worst one was is 2005. I went with some friends to Galveston for like kind of like a day trip, or I don't know. We were there like the entire day, and I put on sunscreen like twice in the entire, like we were there for like 8 hours. And it was miserable. Like my entire body was like red. Like for the next 3 days, all I wore were like boxers because I couldn't stand to put anything else on. I was supposed to go to a pool party the next day, but I couldn't. I was like, I'm not leaving my house. I would do that thing where kind of walk around like this with your arms raised because you couldn't even touch yourself. And that was the worst it's ever been. And
couldn't even touch yourself.
I promised myself, I promised myself after that I'd never let that happen again. And thankfully, it's never been that bad since.
I love that shit at I love that shit at resorts where like on the first day you can see like, ooh, these white people are gonna get burnt to a fucking crisp because they're like already drinking, like no one's got sunscreen on, and then you see them the next day and they're wicked burnt, but they don't feel shit because they just keep drinking, and then you're like, bro, you're gonna be dead in 4 days, like you're never gonna make it. Yeah, that's fun.
Classic.
All right, let's do one more question.
All right. Ooh, I'm trying to find a good one. I should have been reading, but I was listening to y'all stories.
They're good stories, I understand.
And we tell them great.
At least Crispy does.
Can I just say that I originally watched the Killer Clowns from Outer Space on HBO when it fucking originally aired, right? It was I was into it then, and then it became a fucking thing, right? Like, isn't it a thing to like that fucking movie now?
I mean, it is definitely in that like camp of like
Yeah, campy movies. Yeah, that's what I mean. So now I feel
Right, like
fuck it, I
one
lost
of
that
those
one.
like, oh, that's a dumb like good movie, like so bad it's good kind of thing.
Yeah, you can watch it in mute. In fact,
Mm.
watch it in mute. Well, some of the
No.
music stuff is okay.
In fact, I'd recommend it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, let's do this one. Scud asked one today. Let's do that
Ooh.
one. He says, gaming ergonomics? Question mark. IKEA is dipping their toes into gaming furniture for gamers. Gaming chairs aside, as they're actually junk, what are some ergonomic thoughts you all have? I'm a standing desk guy for a few reasons, and find extended play sessions while standing to be quite comfortable.
I love ergonomics. I think it's cool. I also think that
Art ergonomics.
it's
Next question.
another sign of the sort of decay of our capitalist society that like all the good ergonomic stuff is super expensive. So it's like only rich people get to protect their bodies.
Basically,
Because let me
yes.
tell you something, I work in an office where like they take that shit pretty seriously, you know? Like everyone sits in like $3,000 chairs and has like a fucking
Fuck.
one of those desks that has like new like a electric motor that like will raise it up to a standing desk or lower it to a sitting position. Like
Yeah.
they got stands and screens. There's like when you first get hired, there's like an ergonomics specialist who comes around and like helps you set up your desk and everything, because sitting all day is slowly killing you.
Oh,
Like-
yeah, that's
and,
true.
Like
I'm saying it as someone who, in my office, I have a desk that raises and lowers too, and I'm terrible. I keep telling myself, yeah, I'm gonna like stand it up and stand for at least like 20
Yeah.
minutes out of every
Yeah.
hour or something, and I
but then
don't
I'm
do
always
it, and I
tired and I'm
should.
just like, I'll do it after lunch.
Yeah, exactly, and then it never
And
happens.
then I eat lunch and I'm like, I'm so tired.
Well,
So,
you just
I
fucking
don't
raise
know
the
what.
stick and
Yeah.
then cut the fucking cord when it gets to the stand, like the height that it's good at, and then
Yeah.
you never have to fucking worry about it again.
Yeah.
Now it's a standing desk. Fucking go to work.
All right, there
So
we go. I like the solution.
the bad thing, I guess, about good and bad about my office back when I used to. I mean, I'm work from home now, but when I used to go, they had either sitting desks or standing desks. It was not like
Oh, you had to
it
choose,
was
though.
not. Yeah, you had to choose, and so I chose a standing desk, and so I had a very tall chair, but that made it very easy for me to stand up because instead of having to like raise something or whatever, I would literally just kind of slide off my chair and I'd be standing. And what I tried to do, and I still try to do it now because I do my desk at home. I bought one that does raise and lower. Um, I try to, especially during meetings, stand. Because generally, like if I'm sitting, I'll find myself like kind of losing focus or whatever. So if I'm standing, it's a little bit easier. So I try to stand at least 30 to 40% of the day. But in regards to gaming ergonomics, I think I kind of will echo what Crispy said earlier. It sucks that the best stuff is expensive. But it's also one of those things that you kind of get what you pay for to an extent. For
In the spirit of
however
that,
many.
this Secret Lab chair, most expensive chair I've ever bought. I love it. I love it.
And
But
so
it is not cheap.
That's what I was gonna say. Is up until I bought this chair that I'm sitting in, all of my chairs were like $150, maybe 200, and they just start falling apart after a couple of years.
They do.
This one, I think I paid like $650 for, and it still feels brand new. And so that's why I like. It does suck that it's an investment. It's not something.
It's the Sam Vine's boot theory of economics. It is expensive to be poor. Like it's more expensive to be poor than it is to be rich.
That is
Like,
very accurate. Yes.
It sucks.
That's
I
Sucks.
got this old recliner. It was free. Came with the house. They left it.
Nice.
All you had to do was buy a house.
Well, was it already in the basement, or did you have to carry it
how much
down?
is going
there?
for nowadays?
No, I had to carry it down.
Oh,
actually.
okay. There, that's the price you paid right there.
Yeah.
threw out your back. Okay. Oh man. All right. Unless you have, this is another question.
Yeah, that's good. That's good for today. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, guys, if you want to ask questions for a future show, you can support us on Twitch by subscribing, or you can support us on Patreon at any tier. That'll get you access to the supporters channel in Discord. We have a pinned message in there on that channel that has a link to a Google form. You can ask questions whenever it pops into your mind. Just go leave it on the form, and we'll answer it
Tag
at
us
our earliest.
immediately.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and get through all of them, obviously, but we bounce around a lot, so
Tag me on Discord anytime. I barely sleep.
day or night. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap up the show as we do with the 4-player minute. I am not gonna put Jeff on the spot and make him go first. I'm gonna put.
got it.
Oh, Jeff, go first.
I got it. All right.
Dang, look at this.
It's sweat, hype, fuck you, and thank you, right?
Sure.
So
Yes.
Whatever
my
you say, bud.
my my sweat for this 4-player minute is my backlog. Like I got a lot of stuff that I shamefully haven't played. And I started a Discord server, Bury the Backlog, for like people interested in like uniting with one another to like maybe deliberate together and be like, okay, like we all have these games in common. Like let's play it slowly, and at least we have like a discussion about it through the Discord chat, because like I find that a lot of backlog games get buried because like I want to fucking talk to Crispy about Deathloop, so I'm not gonna play this old shit because I have people talking about Deathloop. I want to talk about Deathloop too, and like
Yeah.
it's cool. Like I find that if I have people playing a game alongside me, it's real easy to stay interested in the game, because while I'm at work or I'm not playing the game, it's like, hey, I went through chapter 2 yesterday. Like, oh shit, I just started it. Like this fucking part's cool. Like it just drives you to continue to play it. When you're telling yourself, I'm gonna play this backlog game, and you're doing it by yourself, and you have something interesting that you want to like talk about, and there's no one there to talk about it, it kind of like drowns you out, and then you just want to be part of the conversation, so you go play new shit. So if anyone's interested, you could DM me, I guess, and we'll get you in there. Be warned though, Carlos is fucking in there, so I don't worry, I'll kick him. But he seems to be legit so far, and he's actually the only person who took anything off his.
I mean, if you're talking about playing older games,
Yeah,
Carlos
it's gonna
knows
be
his
it's
shit.
gonna be like stuff that like we haven't played shamefully, or maybe you never heard of. I really want it to be like just tight, so we can like kind of like just be buddies about it, and like have a nice like deliberation, and then go from there, and just like have that chat channel as like a place to fucking talk.
Would our Evangelion watch club match into that group, or
We still need to do that.
We still need to do that.
yeah?
Before the end of the year. Let's do it definitely before the end of the year. I think that would be dope. Like as a Christmas gift, it would be really really cool.
That'd
Yeah.
be
I'll
some
tell you-
Evangelion
Christmas
is a
gift,
Christmas
Jesus.
movie. You're right.
Right?
It totally is.
Tales of Arise, if nothing else, is making me more open to the idea of watching an anime.
But Evangelion, Nick, you're gonna fucking like the first 5 minutes. Like it's not that. The first 5 minutes will probably get you. Like I think
Fucking Wario 64 posted a sale on the Blu-ray for like the entire series or whatever. It was like on sale.
$38
the other day. I was like, oh man, I should buy that. And I was like, Nick, what are you doing? You've never watched a
Yeah,
second of this. You don't even know if
buy
you
it.
like it yet. I
You
didn't
will love it.
yet.
There's a
maybe
whole
I'll
thing
love it.
going on with
But
that.
even if you
release.
don't like it, it is the kind of thing that you'd want to be seen on your shelf. You know, you
Okay.
you buy those fancy books that you never read because when you have company over, they're like, oh my god, he reads David Foster Wallace or whatever. You know, like
Fair enough.
what a
Okay,
cultured
hype.
gentleman.
My hype is for did you guys watch the fucking trailer for Nightmare Alley?
I have
No.
not yet.
No.
The
Oh
Guillermo
my
del Toro movie?
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks really cool.
What?
Yes, it looks really fucking cool, and the cast looks super strong. And I don't really know. Okay, so I talk to Crispy a lot about films and shit, but like, I black myself out on everything. I literally ask people like, what movies did you like? And people will be like, oh, Parasite, oh, Midsummer, and I'll just look it up and like get it or rent it and like watch it. No trailers, no fucking nothing. I go in completely blind, and I found that like my experience with movies, at least how I feel about them emotionally, like is way better than ever before. Because like a lot of times you go into a movie not expecting something, and if that movie is like kind of playing with like tones, like it could really like have a good impact. But that trailer looks really hype, so I'm hyped for a Del Toro movie that looks like he's hiding something. Like it looks all the trailer feels like too simple for a Del Toro shit. Like I don't get it. So I'm excited. You know, like is there a monster somewhere? Like what is they hiding? Like where's the fucking where's the all the Del Toroisms? And you can't tell because it seems very like talky in the trailer.
I just love that attitude of I don't get it. I'm excited.
Yeah,
Like-
I am.
Hey,
That's the way.
I mean, you never know. There might be someone who fucks a fish monster later on there. So, I mean,
Yes.
who knows?
That'd be
You
cool.
never know.
What do you think he meant by that?
Fish person, please.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry, continue.
my fuck you goes to Apple. They lost that case with Epic on one count of the case, which is the count that really actually like mattered most.
Yeah.
So Apple was kind of like strongholding people on the App Store to forcefully use their like Apple payment systems.
You had to
and
go through Apple to buy things instead
to
of
buy
them
stuff,
letting you
right?
kind of
So
bypass Apple and buy
right.
through
So
the
there
app
might be
owner kind of.
Yeah.
So realistically, what you would imagine is Apple's getting a cut, even if it's like something small, like 2%.
No,
Like
it's
they're probably
30%.
30%
Flat-
of
It
the
was
flat
it was pretty
30%.
large.
what
Jesus.
per
That
sale?
is not small at all.
Yeah,
What the
30.
They're not
Yeah.
even. They're not even.
That's
trying to
almost
get it.
a third of it.
But so all it just means is that now if you like wanted to just sell shit solely through your fucking website or like your program itself, the money would go directly to you, and that's cool. Fuck you, Apple. And then my thank you is to everyone who's come out. So I started streaming a little bit more, just because again, like I'm bored and I'm like a pretty social person. So like the random 2 people that fucking come watch me play fucking games in this fucking dingy basement. But yeah, so thanks to them.
Cool.
And that's it. That's my 4-player
Awesome.
minute.
Well, thank you, Jeff. All right, who's next? Chris Davis, why don't you go?
Yeah, I'll go. I'm ready. My first hype this week is probably going to be just like Crispy. Deathloop. I kind of let Chris take the reins on the impressions early on because I do kind of like to cite examples from the game, and this is a game that you don't want to have a whole lot spoiled for you. But damn, Deathloop is pretty good.
Cool.
It is. Like I was saying, I think it's like the just right middleman between the Dishonored experience and the Prey experience. It's everything I wanted of both of those games, and I really, really have fallen for it. Not feeling so much some of the logic behind the game. There's some things that, from a narrative perspective, kind of bother me. But other than that, like I'm 10 hours in, I think, and
I hope we
I
can dig into that next week.
yeah, I think I can
You
like.
can do it without necessarily citing just a bunch of specifics.
There's
which is the hard part.
there's some shit in this game. Okay. Anyway, my second hype, I'm fucking you over, Nick. Alan Wake remastered.
You can have it. You can have it, buddy. It's in my top 10 games of all time. I've showered praise in that game for,
I mean, if
10
anything,
years.
Nick's position should be that he's not excited about this remake because they're not doing it justice.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it.
You think they're gonna get all the licensed music?
It's
Yeah.
yeah.
They still
yeah,
own the license to that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You can buy Alan Wake right now? Oh yeah,
Yes.
obviously it's on Game Pass. They didn't they have like a moment where they had to like renew or else it was gonna
Yeah,
That
and
sounds familiar. Yeah.
yeah, and
Okay.
they've since renewed all that. But yeah,
Okay, cool.
this the remastered version is on PS5 and PC, but I'm going PS5.
With PS5, PC,
the-
Xbox, I would imagine they would try to push it to Switch next year too. But dude,
Great game, though. Great fucking video game, and they're getting rid of all the product placement.
I mean, that's fine.
cool.
The product placement really didn't bother me in my first playthrough.
It's the thermoses. It's the fucking thermoses, right? Can they put something but thermoses as collectibles?
I don't know I don't know the specifics, but like specifically, they're getting rid of the Energizer batteries. I mean,
and
you're
a,
still using
and a
batteries,
Verizon ad.
Yeah, there's like a close-up of a cell phone with Verizon on it, and they got rid of that. You know, things like that.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
fine.
Continue.
Yeah.
Continue, Chris Davis.
But no, I'm you know, I haven't played Alan Wake in about 10 years, and you know, after
still
playing
great.
Control last year, I think I could stand to put some time into it. You know, play around with
still
that
great.
game. It was pretty good, especially the second DLC, the Rider, I think
Signal?
it was.
No, the Signal.
I thought the Signal was the first one. Oh, whatever. Either way, the second one
no.
with it that had the pretty good boss fight in the lighthouse and all that. Yeah,
Ooh, Jeff, lighthouse. There's a lighthouse.
I love it.
But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then I've got 2 fuck yous. My first one, obviously, another week has gone by. Ubisoft hasn't announced another Splinter Cell, so fuck you, Ubisoft. And my other fuck you goes to the used game market. Over the past year, I've kind of been trying to build up my back catalog of things that in my youth, when I was an idiot or otherwise didn't really have the money, I trade in stuff. And I've regretted a lot of that. I stopped doing that like 10 years ago, but you know the damage has been done. I've lost a lot of stuff over time, so I'm trying to build that catalog back up, and it's something I'd like to talk about in the next few weeks. But yeah, the prices, man, they've gone fucking ape shit lately.
Not good.
Hyping up, I think, is part of that, like that notoriety that went on with those copies of Mario 1, which evidently were also fucking scams or something like that. I don't know the whole story.
Yeah, that company apparently is like working inside with each other to fucking boost the sales on the games. So that's fucked.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, that's why someone paid $2 million for a fucking copy of Mario 64. Like, you could find a fucking Mario 64 cart buried in anybody's fucking yard.
Yeah, practically, yeah.
In their yard?
Huge.
But like, trying to get a hold of some PS1 games, PS1, that gen, and the next gen, PS2 and GameCube specifically, that can be a fucking nightmare to get some games, man. Dino Crisis 2, my copy of Dino Crisis 2, I picked up at one of those used CD stores down south, and it had a $10 buybacks. I think it was. I think that's what it was, and it had a $10 price label on it. You look that fucking game up on eBay, you can't find it for less than $50, if not $60, and that's if you're just maybe looking for the disc and the case. Good luck for the fucking manual. So
yes,
it's you know what's one of the worst parts of it is that there are some sellers that are selling reproduction carts out of China that are advertising like Super Metroid and things like that, you know, really popular SNES cartridges for like $15-$20. And
oh my God.
From what I understand, a lot of those like manufacturing processes are like bricking consoles. Ooh. Like they are destroying classic SNESs. It's fucking shit right now, man. It is hard.
Well, yeah. That's rough. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah.
All right. Nolan, are you ready?
Sure, why not?
Go for it.
Alrighty, my hype this week is for Eastward. I was already looking forward to it, but the good things I heard about it from Jeff got me a little more excited for it. My first thank you this week is going to go to Drunken Merchant for telling me about this site, Backlogged.
Yes.
I'd never heard of it before.
Isn't it kind of like Letterboxd for gaming?
Exactly. So yeah, you can go on there and you can say, hey, you know, I played this game. or hey, this game's on my backlog or this game's on my wish list or whatever. And it's just like a more formal way to keep track of things. And it's funny, I'd actually thought about kind of building something like that a few years ago, but never got around to it, and so clearly someone else did.
Nolan,
What's up?
have you never heard of the app? What do I use? I use an app. Game Eye.
I've never heard
of that.
I've tried that.
Yeah, it's basically like a backlog. It sounds like an app that does kind of the same thing. So I'm interested into this if it works better than what I got.
I don't know. I just kind of started browsing through it during the break. It has like I don't know the exact number, but it seems like it's close to 70,000 games in their database. And so in theory, you could either go through that or just like I guess search for the ones you care about, and add them to your either hey I play this game and if I want here's like a review or whatever. And then or hey this game's coming out, I'm gonna add it to my wish list and blah blah blah. Or hey, I haven't played this game, but I've been meaning to. Let me add it to my backlog. So anyway, my sweat is going to go through that process because even though it is very handy, it is not something I can do in 5 minutes. So it's going to take several hours, obviously, to try and get that kind of set up and running for everything. But it's one of those things where if you keep up with it, it'll probably make my life a little bit easier.
Yeah, once you catch up to it, for sure.
Yeah. And then my thank you is going to go to Bernadette. Tomorrow is our 5-year anniversary.
Aww.
So
thank you for marrying me.
Yeah, pretty excited about that.
Anniversary, I assume.
Yeah, not dating. We've been dating a lot longer than that.
Is this the one where you eat the cake? Did you do that one already?
I'm pretty sure you're supposed to eat the cake the first year anniversary.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. But no, this one is just
we waited too long. We're eating the cake. It's been 5 years.
It's been sitting on the last year. I'm sweating. The cake was good. It's gonna taste like shit now.
All right, that's it.
Cool. All right, Crispy, your turn. Crispy, your mic's off.
You're muted.
Okay. Damn it. As Chris Davis alluded to earlier, my first type is for Death Proof. Pretty cool game. Having a lot of fun. And I feel like I'm just now getting to the part of it where, like, okay, it's like opening up and I'm finally, like, getting a vibe going, That when the whole decision making of like, what am I gonna do now? Like, do I want to reset this loop or do I want to try to like get something done and risk exploring this area? That kind of thing, right? Wonderful. Mm-hmm. My first fuck you, or maybe my only fuck you, but fuck you this time goes to Activision Blizzard. They're getting sued again. This time, I think it is a class action by a bunch of former employees for union busting and labor violations, which is, just great. Just more wonderful news out of the Activision Blizzard camp, and yeah, there's a lot of evidence of like their union busting practices, and that is fucking evil. Like they can go fuck themselves. Fuck that. Like really, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, fuck that. Like my second hype, I'm gonna do another hype just to pick back up from that depressing topic, is for a multitude of smaller games that I'm excited to check out. Jeff has been very adamant that I need to play the Forgotten City, as well as There Is No Game, Alternate Dimension or
Wrong Dimension.
Wrong Dimension, yeah. Both of those sound like they might kind of be my jam. Really excited about it. In fact, after you were talking about Forgotten City, Brad texted me a trailer for that game and was like, "Here, I don't think Jeff explained it well enough." Like,
of course he did. Of course he did.
That's not exactly what he said. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus. That's not exactly what he said. But he was like,
Crispy started the pot.
Yeah, he was like, Jeff was beating around the bush. But yeah, I'm excited to try those games. Man, you know, my thank you for the week is I'm thankful that Deathloop is now out and people are playing it because I'm just really fucking sick of the Deathloop marketing discourse. And
Yep.
I'm
I think
glad
we all
that
are.
and I'm glad that now we won't have to hear people bitch about seeing a trailer for it while also simultaneously bitching about having no idea what the game is
It's
or
okay.
about.
We're gonna move on from doing that for Deathloop to doing that for Ghostwire Tokyo because I'm pretty sure
I know.
we're on the
I mean,
same
it's
route.
just like it's just super disappointing, man. It's like, why do you people like expect games to be new and different if you're just gonna be little fucking babies every time somebody tries to put out something that like you don't immediately like,
Resonate with.
like yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. That bothers me. But I might be. But maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe I'm being a little bit of a dick in that regard. But sorry.
Nah.
All right,
right.
that's it for me.
All right, thank you, Crispy. All right, my 4-player minute starts now. I've got 2 hypes and 2 fucks, but I'm going to start with the fuck yous. My first fuck you this week goes to Nintendo. Actually, funny enough, both of my fuck yous go to Nintendo. My first one though is for the they did a patch for the Nintendo Switch that adds Bluetooth functionality to your Nintendo Switch. So today, I paired it with my headphones for the first time since I bought the damn thing on launch day and had
It's
the most
so
comfortable handheld gaming session ever.
it's so
with-
fucking dumb that it always had the ability to do that,
Yeah.
but they just
It
Yeah.
literally just needed a patch, and it works now. There is a caveat, depending on the quality of the headphones you have, there may be some audio latency. Luckily, the ones I have are pretty good. They're Bose and 0 latency, which is what I was really worried about. So I played Skyward Sword on my Switch today at lunch without having to have the awkward cable plugged into the top and then wrapped around behind the system and all that jazz. It was glorious. Which leads me to my second fuck you, which goes to Skyward Sword, which I'm still playing, still enjoying, but I'm now remembering what the specific part that people hate about this game, I think, which is you essentially go to 3 areas in that game 3 times, 3 separate times, and it wasn't. I thought it's the third round that really sucks. Because the third round is like, you think you're going back and you're going to go to another dungeon, but no, you're not going to a dungeon. You're going to, in one area, you have to collect all these little music notes that are scattered all over the place, but you're swimming all the way around to get it, which is really annoying. And the second area, they take all your items away and you have to go like stealth around to try and get them back. It's just like, it's like weird non-Zelda-y things that you're doing, and it sucks. And it's just like, if they had just cut that last round out, I think the game would be much tighter and would have been a much better experience, because the third trip around really just seems kind of pointless. So yeah, luckily they're fairly quick. But you know what? Seriously, fuck, that game could have been much better if they had just taken that out. So my first hype this week goes to Midnight Mass, the new Mike Flanagan horror show. You may know him as the guy who did The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. He has a new show. It's not a Haunting of show, but it is kind of in the same vein. It's a horror series. He uses a lot of the same actors from Haunting of Hill House, but it looks creepy. Jeff, if you haven't checked it out, it takes place on a coastal city with a lighthouse.
Yay.
So, good stuff. Looks super atmospheric, looks super creepy, but like in this really unexpected way. Like it's like a lot of the scenes are like during the day. It's kind of bright, a lot brighter than you might expect. And then they have a lot of scenery scenes that take place at like night, and it's like a lot of like religious extremist kind of imagery and stuff. I don't know. It just looks kind of like a really unexpected follow-up. I loved both Hauntings shows, both seasons. So I'm really looking forward to this. And that comes out on September 24th. So I'm really excited to be binging another Mike Flanagan horror show. And of course, my last hype goes to Dexter New Blood. We are 52 days away.
Shocking.
From the premiere of Dexter New Blood. I'm on my rewatch. I am in the middle of season 4, almost the end of season 4, I suppose.
Nick, I've never watched Dexter at all. In fact, I don't know shit about Dexter besides that guy's face. Because he's always on
Dexter's
the fucking
face?
cover
Yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Whoever the actor is.
Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
Well, if you're looking for something, you can try it. It's a pretty good show. It's a pretty good show.
I'll see your Dexter. You see my Evangelion. And
All
maybe
right, deal. Deal.
That is
yeah.
such a lopsided trade.
But
okay.
Fuck off.
But okay.
Oh, it's really not fair to Jeff. Okay. But yeah, I'm super excited. I was just thinking the other day, I was like, because I've obviously reached like just uncontrollable levels of excitement about the new season, and I was thinking to myself, the day that this was announced that it was going to happen, right? So it had been like 8 years since the show ended. Obviously, still feeling burned about the way that show ended. And then I remember getting a Discord message from like 8 people at once. Saying, "Oh my God, Nick! Oh my God, Nick! Oh my God! Showtime just announced they're bringing back Dexter," and I was like, "Go fuck yourself! That's not true. That's not happening." And I opened up the thing, and I was like, I was at work, and I was like, I can't work. My day is over. I am shaking with excitement. And then I was like, now I have to wait for like 6 months before they even start filming, and like it's gonna be a fucking long wait. And now we're 52 days out, and I'm on cloud 9 right now. I'm really fucking excited. So
Dude, I am honestly amazed that you are still keeping a pace with like your daily tweeting about Dexter.
I mean, it's
Like,
it's easy because it's since
because
I
you're
already know,
watching it.
well,
Like,
since I
yeah.
know what happens, I just sit it on my desk and I while I'm working, and it's in the background or whatever. So,
And you're like, oh, like you hear someone scream, and you're like, oh, that's so and so.
And the people at Showtime was like, that guy, his fucking free promotion is the best.
if I fucking make it every single day until this thing premieres, I hope Showtime sees this and send me a new mug. Send me another mug. I don't care.
Notice me, senpai.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. I'm not even ashamed of it. But also, thank you to. There's been some people who have been engaging with me in my Discord channel called Talk to Nick About Dexter. Been having some people popping in there and talking about it. So thank you guys for indulging my excitement. And of course, also thank you to Jeff for being here on the podcast. It's always a pleasure having you here. Hope to have you on in the future as well. Love talking about video games, my friend. And yeah, I think that's our show, guys. That's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Play video games. Be good to each other.
Oh, I have one more thing.
Nolan has an announcement.
kind of a one-off. I could say it's a thank you. Last week after the show ended, I got a phone call from none other than David Lau. And he said, "Hey, I heard you were playing Cookie Clicker. I had some tips." And I was like, "Oh, what's up?" I was like, "What's up, David? What you got for me?" And he was like, "Don't play that fucking game." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Thanks, David." And that was it.
Oh. That went in a direction I wasn't expecting.
Well, he tried.
Yep.
He failed.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week, next Thursday. We'll probably go into more detail about Deathloop. I think Ed will be here. We'll be talking about more video games. So in the meantime, be good to each other, wash your hands, all that good stuff. We'll see you next week. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.